Top of the afternoon to you, and welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show on this beautiful but cold and snowy St. Patrick's Day. It is the final day of the Wisconsin State Senate session, and I mean final day for the entire year. Yes, on March 17th, they're done after today. The final floor session has a number of contentious votes and a big retirement already announced today. Let's dive right into it. Here are the top stories we are following on the Dan O'Donnell Show on this St. Patrick's Day. State Senator Van Wanggaard has told colleagues that he is retiring from the state Senate. He won't seek re-election this November. We'll have the details and explain what this means for Republicans' chances of holding their slim margin in the Senate in just a second. On the final day of the state Senate's year, hotly contested bills on online sports betting, NIL deals, and much more expected to come up for votes. We're going to be following that pretty much throughout the afternoon. And the U.S. Senate is also taking a critical test vote on the Save America Act this afternoon. The bill faces an uncertain future because of an expected Democrat filibuster. But will Republicans try to modify the filibuster so that it can pass? We'll discuss coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. And it is, yes, St. Patrick's Day. And as is tradition, President Trump has met with the Prime Minister of Ireland, known as the Taoiseach. He also took part in the annual Friends of Ireland luncheon. All the details on that, what he said about the war in Iran, coming up in the Daily Trump Date at 4 o'clock. If you'd like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show on this St. Patrick's Day, our phone lines are always open. And the AdventNows.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. You can email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. We're streaming live on all of them, plus on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, as the kids say, and please do follow and subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app. The Dan O'Donnell Show podcast, a quick and easy way to get through the program with limited, and I mean very limited, commercial interruption. iHeartRadio. Some business to take care of right at the start of the show. The Bid on Milwaukee auction kicks off tomorrow. We always do this a couple of times a year, usually in the fall and right around St. Patrick's Day. Well, it is going to be tomorrow and Thursday, 2 days of bidding. But there is something very important that you do need to know. There was an issue with the bidonmilwaukee.com website, and that means we are switching to a backup site to run this March's auction, bidonmilwaukeeauction.com. If you go to bidonmilwaukee.com, I'm told the site is still up, but you aren't going to be able to bid on things, so please do go to bidonmilwaukeeauction.com. It is very, very easy to get signed up and bid. Go to the station's website, click on the search icon, search the word auction, search on the Bid on Milwaukee auction on the website, or simply go directly to bidonmilwaukeeauction.com. Very important if you want to bid, and this is a very, very cool way to get some of the best deals on things that you are ever going to get. My favorite has got to be the 33-foot above-ground pool from Bachman's. The opening bid there is $11,000. Folks, if you can get a pool for $11,000, do you have any idea what above-ground pools cost now? Yes, I have been in the market. I wasn't serious about getting a pool. We just built a house. So, yeah, we're going to be paying a lot of money for that. My son is going to college next year, going to be paying a lot for that. But I did sort of price out what a pool would be. And let's just say that Clark Griswold's Christmas bonus in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation will no longer cover it. My God, are those expensive. $11,000 for the opening bid for a pool. And the reason you get such incredible savings on things, you get a riverboat cruise on the Mississippi River aboard the Riverboat Twilight. The opening bid there is $415 for a riverboat cruise. Just unbelievable deals here. The reason is that anyone who puts their items up for bid on the Bid on Milwaukee auction, they have to list the reserve price, meaning the minimum that it can go for, at 50% of the item's actual value. So a lot lot of this stuff, I'm just going to be totally honest with you folks, nobody bids on. That means you are guaranteed to get 50% off. Like, how about this? An IS 440 infrared sauna from Bachman's. Opening bid there, $4,200. You can get fitness club memberships. The Princeton Club opening bid there, $385. A robotic lawnmower from LawnBots Robotic Mowing. Seriously, a robotic lawnmower. It's sort of like a Roomba, but for your lawn. Now, that's awesome. I would totally be in on that if I didn't have a couple of teenage boys who don't know it yet, but they are going to be mowing my lawn on the tractor all summer long. Furnace and central air packages from Kettle Moraine Heating and Air Conditioning. Great deal on that. How about this? A 6-person, 5-day Canadian fishing adventure at Lake of the Woods in Ontario at Ballard's Black Island Resort. Vicky goes every year, and there's a reason she goes every year, because it is supposed to be just an incredible good time. Oh my gosh, the Heidel House. We've got the Heidel House up for a bit. I can remember going to the Heidel House with my dad's entire family. He had 6 brothers and sisters, and like the entire family. I can distinctly remember this in Green Lake. It was a fantastic family vacation. When I was like, I had to have been 6 or 7 years old. I might actually bid on the Heidel House getaway just for the nostalgia factor. There is also the White Lace Inn in Sturgeon Bay. All sorts of cool stuff. Head over. Yeah, my producer Eric's head popped up when I said the White Lace Inn in Sturgeon Bay. That's a cool one, too. That's a very, very famous resort and hotel stay. So head to bidonmilwaukeeauction.com, okay? My boss, Jerry Bott, is going to absolutely kill me if you people are going to bidonmilwaukee.com and you're emailing him, hey, Jerry, why doesn't this work? Because bidonmilwaukeeauction.com is the website. Easiest way, just go to our website, newstalk1130.com. I believe there's a link up at WIBA.com. Don't totally quote me on that, but bidonmilwaukeeauction.com. All sorts of incredibly cool stuff. Ooh, outdoor patio furniture from By the Art. I actually do need that. Am I eligible to bid? Can we get an official opinion from legal on that? Okay, I'm just going to invent, like, Stan O'Connell is bidding on stuff. So if Stan O'Connell all of a sudden outbids you for stuff, please don't tell management that it's actually me. All right, big news in the Wisconsin State Senate. The longest-serving Republican Senator Van Wanggaard has announced he is not going to run for re-election. This was not totally unexpected. We reported exclusively yesterday that the Senate Majority Leader, Devin LeMahieu, is leaning very, very heavily towards retirement. Now, that was something of a surprise, although he has apparently been flirting with retirement for some time. Wanggaard is getting up there in age. He'll be, as he points out in a press release that he put out this afternoon, 78 years old at the end of his next 4-year term. He is a very staunch conservative. He has been arguably the biggest defender of law enforcement in the Wisconsin legislature, former law enforcement officer himself, but he has faced significant health challenges in his family. As he said, my head is telling me it's time to retire. I'll be 78 years old at the end of my next term. My staff and colleagues worked with me to try to make something workable for the campaign in the next 4 years, but my health and the health of my family will not allow me to put my all in this campaign or serving the 21st District. After running for election 4 years ago, I've lost 3 siblings. My daughter was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and a brother had a heart attack and has dementia. That weighs on me more than you could know. Obviously, our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers all go out to Van and his family. You just could not find a better, more decent human being in the state Senate. He said, of course, he wants to run again. In my heart, I desperately wanted to run again. He said, I would love to continue to serve as a common sense conservative voice in the legislature. Public service is in my blood. Unfortunately, though, he just is not going to be able to. So we do expect that at some point this afternoon or into this evening, depending on how long the session goes, we're going to get a retirement speech from Van. Now, the immediate political impact of this is not good for Republicans. because it creates an open seat in a district that, remember, was redrawn when Democrats totally didn't gerrymander the state legislative districts by having the Wisconsin Supreme Court essentially strike down the Republican-drawn maps that had already passed the Wisconsin Supreme Court, that went all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, given a clean bill of health, then went back down. And, of course, as soon as Democrats retook control of the majority of the state Supreme Court, what did they do? And I mean, as soon as they retook majority, as soon as Janet Protasewicz was sworn in August of 2023, and Democrats, liberals took over control of the court for the first time in 15 years, the very next day, a liberal legal group filed a lawsuit challenging the state's legislative maps. It does not get any more transparent than that. So the districts were gerrymandered. The legislature essentially had no choice but to take Governor Tony Evers' gerrymandered state legislative maps immediately in 2024, even though President Trump won the state by a pretty decent amount as presidential elections in Wisconsin go. Democrats won 10 seats in the state assembly, and magically they won 4 seats in the state Senate. That is sort of the hallmark of a gerrymander, when immediately the map goes in, and what do you know? The party that was accused of gerrymandering the maps immediately wins everything there is to win. One of the most closely contested seats in the Senate figures to be Van Wanggaard's seat. Because of the way it was redrawn, Kamala Harris actually won Wanggaard's new Senate district by about 1 to 2%. So Wanggaard was going to face a tough re-election battle. The power of the incumbency and the fact that he is so well liked in the part of his district that remained from the old maps would have made him a very formidable candidate. But again, when you're 73 years old and you've had such significant health problems in your family, I can't disagree with the decision to step aside. Also, the last thing you want to do is to go out on a loss, and it is very likely. I'm not saying it would be more likely than not, but there is a very distinct possibility that even if Van was running, he would lose. Republicans hold an incredibly slim margin in the state Senate. And control of the Senate is going to come down to 3 Republican districts and essentially one that is a mix. Okay, 2 incumbents, because of the redistricting, were drawn into Senate District 31. The incumbent there is a Democrat by the name of Jeff Smith, but a very popular Republican state senator, Jesse James, no relation, I think, to the outlaw. He was drawn into this district. So the race basically pits 2 incumbents against each other for this new district. Democrats need to win 3 of the 4 most hotly contested districts in the Senate in order to win control. Now, my good friend Joe Handrick, known as Minocqua Joe on X, he is easily, and I mean easily, the best Republican numbers guy in the state. If you want to know where I go to get my political data, usually it's Joe Hendrick. On election nights, I've got him on speed dial because he is the data guru in Wisconsin. He posted on X, I retweeted it, that Democrats now have to be considered the favorites to win control of the state Senate. The biggest advantage that Republicans had in 2 of those 4 districts was the power of the incumbency. Senate District 21 now is an open seat with Van Wanggaard not running. Senate District 5, where the current incumbent Rob Hutton announced earlier this year that he wasn't going to run, is now going to be a dogfight between Robin Vining, who this district was essentially gerrymandered for her. This is Brookfield, Wauwatosa, the western Milwaukee suburbs, part of Milwaukee County, Waukesha County. There is a very promising new Republican candidate, Dr. Mike Roberts, very impressive impressive guy. We actually had him on the show immediately after he announced his run. But again, there is no incumbent. And in what figures to be a pretty good Democrat year, just based on the fact that Democrats don't have control of the White House, and especially here in Wisconsin, Democrats usually do very well when a Republican controls the White House. It's going to be tough to win this division, especially this district, I should say, especially when it was drawn specifically for a lib like Vining to win it. Mike Roberts, though, has essentially lived in the district for, I think, his entire life. He's very well known there, and he's just a very affable, very hardworking, very likable guy. The other two districts, Senate District 17 features an incumbent, Howard Marklein. Now, Kamala Harris, under the redrawn maps, did win this district in 2024, but it was a very, very narrow win. And as we outlined a couple of weeks ago when we were analyzing control of the Senate and really drawing down on some of the data there, the story in this district is the down ballot votes for the GOP. Remember, every single state Senate district has 3 state assembly districts. Now, obviously, 2 years ago, because senators serve 4-year terms, there wasn't a Senate election. Howard Marklein last ran for re-election in 2022, but you can sort of see where the electorate is if you look at the votes for the 3 assembly districts within this Senate district. GOP candidates absolutely dominated in this district. And Marklein always seems to be considered someone who's going to lose his reelection bid, and he always seems to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and he always gets himself reelected. For my money, the most competitive race is going to be that Dr. Mike Roberts versus Robin Vining, and I do believe that control of the Senate is likely to come down to that. Unless Republicans get a very strong candidate in the Van Wangard district, that would very likely be a loss. I believe Marklein is going to win re-election because of the power of the incumbency, and the Jesse James, Jeff Smith, incumbent Republican versus incumbent Democrat battle, that one is probably a toss-up. It's probably 50-50. Again, you have very likely got to give the edge to the Democrat just because of the partisan makeup of what the electorate is expected to be. When we come back, we will dive a little bit deeper into those numbers. I know I've scared a lot of people thinking that the control of the Senate is already lost. I'm telling you it is not, and I will prove it. Coming up next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
We honor the biggest stars from all genres of music that you loved listening to all year long.
Don't miss our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. Watch live on Fox Thursday, March 26th.
Starting at 7 p.m.
And listen on iHeartRadio stations across America and the free iHeart app.
Trashy is a proud partner of the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. This spring, turn your closet clutter into rewards with the Take Back Bag. Learn more and get started at trashy.io.
When you're making a major purchase like getting a new vehicle, you want to deal with a company that is so good, so buttoned up, so solid that it inspires absolute confidence. That was precisely my experience when I bought my SUV at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The test drive, the financing, the delivery of my new vehicle, every detail was handled with precision and, frankly, perfection. Hey, it's Jerry Bott, and I drive Holiday.
Hey, Wisconsin, the March Mania sale at Holiday is your ticket to score more. It's where to gear up, get more vehicle for your buck, more for your trade, and get in on enticing money-saving offers now on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC. Team Holiday's exceptional guest care and simplified buying approach is the stuff that makes fans of drivers from all over the Badger State. Treat yourself to a test drive, find yours, and discover the difference for yourself. The March Mania sale at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, Highway 41 and 23 Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
By
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms to apply.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
God willing, by the Dropkick Murphys in the Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all in top of the afternoon. From this Irish fellow, we are following breaking news in the Wisconsin State Senate. The Senate has now passed the online sports betting bill 21-12. State Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu did indeed bring it to the floor without the requisite 17 Republican votes in favor of it. Now, this is significant because a whole lot of members, including Chris Kapenga, a state senator who did end up voting no on the bill, this just happened about 5-10 minutes ago, that he was warning that LeMahieu, if he passes that bill by violating the Senate's rule of 17, he would very likely not be reelected as Senate Majority Leader. Well, I was reporting yesterday, and I will reiterate today, that LeMahieu does not really care about that because it is very likely that he is not going to seek reelection. That, in fact, his last act as Senate Majority Leader was to put the online sports betting bill on the floor and to get it passed with Democrat votes. No real surprise. I believe all Republicans, all Democrats did, in fact, vote in favor of it. The vote was a little bit narrower than I thought. I'll have to get a full vote count when I'm able to just kind of share. Again, this just came in. I'm getting some notes from some sources in the Wisconsin Senate. The Republicans who voted no: Bradley, Cabral, Guevara, Hutton, Jacques, Kapenga, Noss, Quinn, Stasholt, and Wimberger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is actually Republicans have an 18-15 majority in the Senate. So that actually is more Republican opposition than I had reported a couple of days ago when I said the number is very likely going to be only 10 or 11 Republicans in support of this. Now, why this is such a big deal, and the bill is going to be signed by Governor Evers. I guess we'll, you know what, I'm going to switch and say, hey, can we put our server in your sports book? Well, in exchange for this favor, the tribes will take about 60% of an operator's revenue. Now, the operators, DraftKings, FanDuel, and the like, they're saying, well, why the hell is this necessary? We're doing all the heavy lifting here. We're the ones that are actually providing online sports betting. We're the ones who actually have the server space. We're the ones who actually have to pay. We're the ones who actually have to take the bets and cover them if we lose. Why do the native tribes just get money for essentially doing nothing? Not only that, a big problem with this bill, and again, Evers is going to sign it. There is zero chance. It already passed the Assembly. Remember, it passed the Assembly very controversially on a voice vote. This was Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who also announced his retirement on the last day of the Assembly session last month. His outgoing present to Wisconsin was to just completely sell out to the native tribes. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a big fan of what Robin Vos did, but frankly, I'm disgusted at the behavior of both LeMahieu and Vos. Vos wanted a voice vote. Vos got a voice vote in the state assembly, even though you saw there were 9 Republicans, did I count? 9 Republicans in the Wisconsin Senate opposed to the online sports betting bill. That means there would have been significant opposition in the Wisconsin Assembly. But Vos didn't want his members to have to answer to their constituents, to have to answer to me and people like me who would publicize exactly who voted for what. So he allowed a voice vote. The bill then goes over to the Senate, and the Senate, its leadership is supposed to adhere to what's known as the Rule of 17, where if a bill doesn't have the support of at least 17 Republican senators, it doesn't pass. Now, you can debate whether this is good policy or not. I happen to like it because it ensures that only legislation that is supported by the entire Republican caucus, or at least a huge majority of the Republican caucus, get to the floor for a vote. By violating the Rule of 17, LeMahieu was essentially conceding, look, I know my members don't want this. By extension, the people they represent, you, me, the constituents, don't want this, but I'm going to pass it anyway, and I'm going to pass it even though I know this is something that primarily Democrats want. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to get back into this. It is a huge development here. Online sports betting will be legal in Wisconsin. I know a lot of people are happy about that. We'll discuss the merits and the problems coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Here for the great folks at the Lynch family of dealerships. It is tax time. No one likes that, but it's also tax refund time, and everyone likes getting money back, even if it's your own. Well, put that money to work during Lynch's Your Refund, Your Ride event going on now at all Lynch dealerships. Put your refund toward your next vehicle, upgrade your ride, and save with amazing deals on new and used Lynch vehicles. They've got something for everyone and in every location. The Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington, Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha, Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend, Lynch CDJR, Lynch Ford, and Lynch Chevrolet, all of Mugwanago, and the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford. Put your refund to good use and find great savings at any of the great Lynch locations, or shop online at shoplynch.com. It's Lynch's Your Refund, Your Ride event. Check out all the deals at shoplynch.com.
I'm Eric Krolowitz from Good Health Saunas. Check out Good Health Sauna's massive display at the Realtors Home and Garden Show, March 20th through the 29th. See every model be set up, feel them, touch them, try them out, and compare to find the ideal sauna for you and the entire family. Attendees will receive huge discounts on our show display floor models. Come early, they always sell out. GoodHealthSaunas.com or 365 days a year at 2242 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha next to Home Depot.
Springtime is a great time to improve your home's curb appeal with Porter's Borders. Porter's Borders installs beautiful maintenance-free concrete edging and landscape curbing for your outdoor spaces. Visit portersborders.com for a free price quote today.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, pump and plumbing.
I'm medical doctor Jennifer Grieve. My experience in the ER led me to establish Reset Restore MD intravenous ketamine therapy centers in Brookfield and Mequon. The holidays can be hard for good people suffering from depression or anxiety. Our society often stigmatizes discussions and prevents people from seeking the help they desperately need. Reset Restore MD was founded on the principle that every Wisconsinite deserves the chance to live life without their dark clouds choking them when they wake up. Our treatments empower patients to reset and restore their relationships, including their most important relationship, the one with themselves. If you or someone you love is dreading getting together with family and friends due to depression or anxiety, intravenous ketamine therapy may be the solution. Patients undergo what they call life-changing treatments in our state-of-the-art clinics in Brookfield and Mequon. Sessions take about an hour and are done within 2 to 3 weeks. This season, don't forget to take a moment to prioritize someone's mental health, including your own. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel in industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
It's Tuesday in Milwaukee. I've worn a parka, crop top, and rain poncho since breakfast.
Our weather has commitment issues, Tracy. It's bipolar with a side of, are you kidding me?
If your heating and cooling system is also confused, you're in luck.
At Capital, we're giving you year-round comfort for the price of one season. Buy a furnace, we'll give you an AC for free.
You heard him. Turn that burr into ah and tell that Milwaukee weather to move on.
Call CapitalCares.com.
Listen up, Wisconsin. Our freedoms are under attack by powerful out-of-state elites who think they know better than us. Coastal elites are trying to kill legislation that will finally legalize online sports betting in Wisconsin. Not because Wisconsin fans oppose it, but because it threatens their profits. Here's the hairy truth. They actually want online betting legalized, just on their terms. You see, they want legislation that guarantees them bigger profits, special treatment, and total control. If they cannot rig the rules in their favor, they would rather shut it all down. Let's be clear, this has nothing to do with protecting Wisconsin values or Wisconsin sports fans. It has everything to do with greed. These coastal elites want to decide who wins, who plays, and who gets paid, while Wisconsin gets left behind. Enough with the lies and deception. It is time to blow the whistle and fight back. Tell legislators to put Wisconsin first, not corporate profits. Tell the legislature to let Wisconsin bet. Paid for by Let Wisconsin Bet.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. I'm sharing with you my podcast, Math and Magic, Stories from the Frontiers of Marketing. Math and Magic takes you behind the scenes of the biggest businesses while sharing insights from the smartest minds in marketing. I'm talking to Liquid Death CEO Mike Cesario.
Investors don't like to invest in ideas. They like to invest in businesses.
Charlemagne the God, and our own Chief Business Officer, Lisa Coffey. Listen to Math and Magic on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Math and Magic to start listening.
John Ryan Ryan's Polka in the Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation. Had to put this one in today. It's a sentimental favorite. My kids actually play this, including my youngest, my daughter Gracie. This is actually an American fiddle tune, which draws on both Appalachia and the Irish traditions of fiddle. And you can hear kind of both. It's just a really, really fun song. It's also a very, very popular one with Irish dance groups, the Trinity Irish Dancers and so forth. Oftentimes they will be dancing to this, John Ryan's Polka. If you want to hear the Irish Celtic punk music that we use for bumper music here on the Dan O'Donnell Show and have for the last week or so, head on over to Spotify. The Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music playlist is in. President Trump, he had an annual meeting. It's tradition for the American president. Oh, by the way, coming up at 5 o'clock, we are going to do a special segment on St. Patrick's Day, as it really is, even though it celebrates the Irish, the all-American holiday, because it's all about immigration to the United States, but also integration with a broader American culture. When the Irish came, the Irish were as low as the people get. They were true refugees. I mean, they were fleeing oppression because of the Great Potato Blight, which is completely misunderstood by history. A lot of people go, well, the Irish, they couldn't grow anything but potatoes, and when the potato crop failed, they all starved. Well, yes and no. If you've ever been to Ireland, you would know that really nothing grows in that climate except potatoes. And it wasn't that they weren't able to grow enough potatoes. It was that the English, if you ever wondered why the Irish hate the English so much, it's because of the Blight. It's because of the War for Independence a couple decades later. But during the Blight, the English, who essentially owned all of the farms, the land that the Irish were tenant farmers, sharecroppers on, they demanded that the potatoes that were being grown be sent back to England, and the Irish were not allowed to keep any for themselves. So Irish farm families were starving to death while the English were still demanding their quotas of crops to come down. So the Irish en masse left the country. And primarily, they were going to the United States. This was in the 1850s, 1860s. The movie Gangs of New York does an incredible job of showing how they were getting off the boat and getting conscripted into the Union Army fighting the Civil War. This led to the infamous draft riots in New York City depicted in the film. Great St. Patrick's Day watch, by the way. It's a brutally violent movie. Martin Scorsese, Daniel Day-Lewis playing one of the best villains, I think, in film history, Bill the Butcher. Leonardo DiCaprio is the main character. And if you want to see Cameron Diaz doing truly the worst Irish brogue I have ever heard, watch Gangs of New York. Really, really fantastic film. But today, the president, as is tradition, so all these Irish immigrants are coming to the United States, and they're welcomed with open arms. And Ireland lovingly calls itself America's 51st state, because the Irish diaspora, when all of the people fled all across the country, all across the world, they primarily went to the United States. And the President Trump, talked about the long history as we prepare to celebrate America's 250th birthday this July of the Irish in America, including very, very strong ties to the founding of America itself.
You know, I was just told, right, that 23 American presidents have some Irish blood in them, right? Some a little bit, and some a lot, right? That's a pretty big number. I don't think and nobody else competes with that. But out of the 56 signers of our Declaration of Independence, 11 were patriots with roots in Ireland back in July 4th, 1776. It was a son of Ireland who actually printed that sacred document for the first time. Who knew that? And it was also an Irishman who first read its immortal words to the American public, proclaiming aloud that we are all made free and equal by the hand of our Creator and endowed by God with rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That came out of the blood of Ireland.
Yeah, the guy who first printed the Declaration of Independence, actually the night after that night, July 4th, 1776, immediately after the Second Continental Congress approved the final text, a manuscript copy was rushed over to John Dunlap's print shop in Philadelphia. He was the official printer of the Continental Congress, and he worked all through the night, and he printed about 200 broadside copies. These are like almost giant posters, right? They're known as the Dunlap broadside, and they were publicly distributed the very next day, July 5th. How cool is that, huh? That it was a son of Ireland who printed the very first copies of the Declaration of Independence. Cool little history from President Trump. History made in Wisconsin today. The state Senate has given final legislative approval to online sports betting. Wisconsin is one of the final states to approve online sports betting. It does not necessarily face a 100% clean path to signing. Governor Evers has actually expressed some concern with the bill, saying that the tribes didn't get enough say in the process. Give me a break. They get total control over online sports betting. So that's led some people to think that Evers isn't going to sign this thing into law. Folks, I hate to spoil the ending. Evers is going to sign this into law. There is so much lobbying money behind this that you actually heard in the last commercial break. If you're listening to this show on WISN Radio, you actually heard an ad for the supporters of online sports betting. It was like letpeoplebet.com or something like that. That should tell you how much money. If they're spending ads on this station, interestingly enough, did you notice the radio show that they were spending the most money on? It was clearly this one, because they have judged your humble host to be one of the biggest voices of opposition against this bill. And look, folks, I understand. I'm not saying here that I am totally opposed to online sports betting. Millions of people do it. Millions of people are able to do it safely. They're able to have fun with it. But there is a segment of the population that gets addicted to it. And online sports betting is very addictive. I have a bigger issue, though, not necessarily with the addictive properties of online sports betting as compared to, say, casino gaming, the lottery, scratch-off tickets, that sort of thing. Clearly, something that you're able to do compulsively, nonstop, because you've constantly got the means to do it in your hands, in your pocket, in your cell phone. It's obviously going to be way easier to do, and it's obviously going to be way more problematic. But I don't have as much of a problem with that as I do with the manner in which this was passed and the power that this gives, not just to the native tribes, but also to Governor Evers to now reopen the gaming compact and to negotiate an even worse deal than his predecessor, Diamond Jim Doyle, did 23 years ago when he, in a late night, midnight deal on, of all days, April Fool's Day, sold the state out to the tribes to prevent any future governor or any future legislature from ever reopening the compacts. The other issue with this is that it's almost certainly unconstitutional. And quite frankly, I think the second that this law is signed, it is going to be challenged on constitutional grounds. We will explain how coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Coming up next, we name the unhinged liberal of the day on this St. Patrick's Day. We'll be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Got a crash on Ryan Road west of Howell Avenue, 4145 northbound at North Avenue. Crash on the right shoulder in the roadwork zone. Heavy delays back to Watertown Plank. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Yard. At By the Yard, outdoor furniture isn't just what they make, it's who they are. Family owned, made in the Midwest from recycled materials, maintenance free, and backed by a 35-year warranty. Get inspired at your By the Yard showroom in Oconomowoc to see the difference quality makes. With By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Hey, it's Dan for my friends at Old Fashioned Roofing, a company that does things the old-fashioned way, right down to their advertising. You've heard me talking about their brand new jingle that taps into the very best of our shared culture. culture in this state? Well, here it is. A polka befitting a true Wisconsin company and one that will be in your head all day, especially while you head to oldfashionedroofing.com.
Just doing some roofing on another lovely Wisconsin day. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. It's just roofing done the old-fashioned way. You betcha. Do you need shingles? Let's mingle. For a Wisconsin tradition never dwindles. So raise a glass, shake a hand for this old-fashioned brand. Whoop, that's old-fashioned roofing.
Told you it would get stuck in your head. Give Old Fashioned Roofing a call at 262-229-8909 or visit oldfashionedroofing.com.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna for Berna. You know, we keep hearing crime is down, but look around. Do you see it? You don't, because it's not happening around here. And it seems the story of violent criminals being released into the wild where they commit more violence is like a song on single-track shuffle. And did you know there's now a movement to disarm the police? As if it could get worse. Things just seem out of control. But all of this means you're the one who now has to be in charge of your own self-defense. So take back control with Berna. Berna is a compact, less lethal self-defense tool that uses chemical and kinetic rounds to deter attackers, giving you time to escape. One shot can incapacitate attackers for up to 40 minutes. And Berna is trusted by the pros. Over 500 government agencies and police departments trust Berna. So if you have a kid in college living off campus, give them more than just a backpack and a laptop. Give them peace of mind. And your elderly parents, you know what? They need Berna's compact launcher too. Go to Berna.com to learn more or try before you buy at a Sportsman's Warehouse location near you. That's Berna.com.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
I'm Warshawski Law's nationally certified legal investigator, John Schatzman. If you or someone you love is horribly injured, Sign and Settle Lawyers should scare you more than blocking Clay Matthews on a Klingon battle cruiser. Insurance companies value your claim based on the quality of your law firm. Settlement Mills investigating your injuries is a lawyer who never tried a case looking at police reports. With Warshawski in your corner, our own investigator will be on the way to record the scene of your injury, interview witnesses usually within minutes of your call. It's not uncommon for me to document and preserve evidence police officers did not see as significant. Meticulous examination of physical evidence, all documentation, and every medical record makes certain nothing is missed. Warshawski will show how your losses could have been prevented and exactly why they were not. Insurance companies are risk adverse. Warshawski's unique skills make record cash settlements possible. And when settlement is not forthcoming, your best outcome at trial. Injured, it is about the money. Warshawski.com.
I thought that I liked my new Comer & Cross garage floor the day they installed it. I wasn't prepared for how much I love it now. Hey, it's Ben. And we didn't park the cars in the garage for a couple of days, but now that they're there, that garage floor looks even better. It is so clean, so crisp. I mean, it really does gleam. And the black and white, the domino that we chose from Comer & Cross, it looks amazing. It literally looks like a new car dealership showroom floor. See for yourself what a Comer & Cross garage floor fix can look like in your house. Comer & Cross fixes the pits, the cracks, the stains, and if you've got a bad epoxy job, they can take care of that too. They grind the floor down to new, then add their top-of-the-line coating, and they do it in just one day. Call them today, Comer & Cross, 262-788-6430. That's 262-788-6430, or always online at COMERcross.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman. Siobhan's on the west end, Siobhan's on the chain. Siobhan's like a rebel and not you won't be home again. I stay up late and every night, I know it is not sane. Siobhan's on the west end, she won't be home again.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Siobhan. From, I believe, is this the Tossers in the Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation. Fun Celtic punk all day long here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are also likely, primarily in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to have some St. Patrick's Day fun. The history of the day, why it is the ultimate American holiday. Also, It is a significant anniversary today, folks. 20 years since a seminal moment in American culture that you might not know about. But folks, when I explain it to you, it's all going to make sense. And you are going to thank the Dan O'Donnell Show for bringing you this indelible piece of Americana. Also, how about, what do you think the ultimate St. Patrick's Day movie is? If you think about it. My grandfather, actually, James O'Donnell, always loved The Bells of St. Mary's. That was, he watched every St. Patrick's Day. I believe that was his absolute favorite movie. There are all sorts of great Irish movies. For my money, and maybe because it came out when I was a kid, and I absolutely love it. It was like one of the first grown-up movies that I was allowed to see. I'm going to go with The Fugitive. Tommy Lee Jones, Oscar-winning role, obviously. Harrison Ford as Dr. Richard Kimball. There is a little-known story about that movie that we are going to get into and how it relates to St. Patrick's Day, specifically St. Patrick's Day in Chicago. All of that is coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. In the 4 o'clock hour, we will get you the Daily Trump Date and much more. Right now, we bring you the Unhinged Liberal of the Day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's Unhinged Liberal of the Day is none other than Joy Reid, who said on her podcast, America, yeah, it's just as oppressive as the Ayatollah's Iran.
Our regime has secret police. They have secret police. Our regime is oppressing women, taking away abortion rights, taking away women's rights in like 26 states, some states where they're trying to have the death penalty for having an abortion. They also oppress women. They have the highest rate of women who are in STEM careers. We're kicking women out of the military, out of university. We're saying that DEI means women can't be hired for high positions in the sciences. We're marginally better, and we're doing it for Christianity. They're doing it for Islam, right? Yeah. So it's like we don't get told those things because it would take away the kind of American exceptionalism narrative.
Yeah, America, just like Iran. Joy Reid, your Unhinged Liberal of the Day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. A top Trump administration official has resigned over the military operation in Iran. Fox's Chris Foster.
Joe Kent resigns as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, writing in a statement, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Joe Kent was confirmed by the Senate as National Counterterrorism Center director last July.
Today, of course, St. Patrick's Day, the Irish have left their mark on Wisconsin in a lot of different ways. Marquette University Associate Professor of Irish and British History, Timothy McMahon, says the influence of and contributions from the Irish in the state are pretty substantial.
You had areas like Mineral Point where you had Irish miners. Politically and socially, the Irish have really been a factor in this state. You look at one of the great landmarks in the Milwaukee area is the Hone Bridge, named after Daniel Hone, who was an Irish mayor of Milwaukee for something like 24 years.
The Milwaukee County Transit System, along with Molson Coors, is available to you if you plan on enjoying your fair share of green beer. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
Free rides on MCTS buses start at 6 p.m. tonight, and the free rides go through each route's respective daily end of service.
Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, the World Baseball Classic finale is set for tonight in Miami. Team USA will battle Venezuela in the championship game. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center. Odoo.com, the only business software you need.
Light snow returns tonight after 8 p.m. and tapers off early Wednesday morning. Around 1 inch of accumulation will be possible. Mostly cloudy the rest of the day with the high temperature around 40. Rain showers possible Wednesday night through about noon on Thursday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Infinity Exteriors. The best lifetime workmanship warranty, fully transparent pricing, and over 60,000 happy customers. At Infinity Exteriors, they're on a mission to save communities from unscrupulous contractors. InfinityExteriors.com.
Find the secret for losing up to 30 pounds in a month or two. That's 1 pound of fat every day. We do this safely and effectively, resetting your metabolism so you keep the weight off for good. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
At Ross Dental, your journey to smiling like you just don't care because you don't isn't paved with anxiety, discomfort, or judgment. People should be judged by the content of their character, not the straightness, color, or condition of their smile. No matter how much restoration required, Ross Dental's gentle, caring staff won't judge you. Ross Dental does cutting-edge laser dentistry, maximizing patient comfort and health. Laser removal of tooth decay requires 0 shots. For almost everyone, it's painless. Procedures are faster, no numb mouth, 0 shots. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com. Lasers don't churn up infected tissue. They kill bacteria, fungus, even viruses, dramatically reducing infection-spreading bioaerosols old technology drills cause. Laser dentistry is ideal for cavity treatment, and less collateral tissue damage treating gum disease or canker sores speeds up recovery. Ross Dental's convenient payment options, low, even no radiation imagery, and sedation dentistry eliminate every reason to neglect your teeth. Schedule your cleaning or cosmetic assessment today, and soon you'll smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalNewBerlin.com.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
WISN. Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. On the day that everyone's a little bit Irish, I actually am 50% Irish. Very proud of that. O'Donnell is my real name. For those wondering if I use a stage name, no, Daniel O'Donnell is my real name. Yes, I share the same name as a very popular Irish singer. And my dad just texted me to let me know that I was wrong about the movie that Grandpa always watched every St. Patrick's Day. It wasn't The Bells of St. Mary's. It was The Quiet Man, starring John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. Bells of St. Mary's was his favorite movie, but every St. Patrick's Day he would watch, apparently, The Quiet Man. I can still remember, folks, at Grandpa O'Donnell's house in his den, because they had a Sega in the den for the kids. Not Sega Genesis, like the original 1980s Sega that they got for my brother and me when, we would come over, we were little boys, to play. And he had all his VHS tapes, and The Quiet Man was always like right there at the front. I think he had just filmed, because it wasn't like the store-bought Quiet Man. It was like he recorded The Quiet Man when it aired on St. Patrick's Day because he didn't want to pay for the VHS tape. But no, it's the story about a boxer who goes back to Ireland, falls in love, of course. It's just a wonderful, wonderful, absolutely wonderful film. A lot of people have been texting me great movies to watch on St. Patrick's Day. One suggested, how about The Boondock Saints, which is about Irish gangsters? That's a good one. The Departed, also about the Irish mob in Boston. Jack Nicholson essentially is playing Whitey Bulger in a very, very good movie, the movie for which Scorsese finally won the Oscar. He should have won it for Goodfellas. 17 years earlier than that. I believe Goodfellas was 1990. The Departed was 2007, 2008, 2006, somewhere in there. Another one. How about the Leprechaun franchise of campy horror movies about a killer leprechaun? I just remember, I never actually saw those when I was growing up. I think I saw like Leprechaun 3 because I was suffering from insomnia, and it was on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was like in my 20s. And it's absolutely awful. I just remember the movie Wayne's World when Wayne is taunting Garth because Garth is scared of the leprechaun. He says, "The leprechaun's going to get you." So all great St. Patrick's Day, but I would say a great movie, I'm telling you, about the experience of the Irish in the United States would be Gangs of New York. It is all about assimilation into broader culture. It's all about the conflict with the nativist gangs that are already there. It's just wonderful. It's set against the New York draft riots of 1861, 62, somewhere in there. It's just a wonderful, wonderful movie. All right, welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. A lot of big news on the program, breaking news, in fact, from the Wisconsin State Senate and the U.S. Senate, which just passed the Save America Act, or excuse me, it didn't pass it. It advanced it to the floor. I got a lot of people unnecessarily excited. The state Senate passed the online sports betting bill. The United States Senate still has to do something about the Democrat filibuster that is coming, but Republicans are apparently planning a marathon session for at least the next day or two on the Save America Act. It's all for naught, though, if Democrats are just able to filibuster it. We will dive into that. We'll get back into some of the issues. Folks, for those saying, oh, Dan, why are you spending so much time on this online sports betting bill? Because it deals with so much that is so wrong with the state legislature. You've got cronyism. You've got blatantly unconstitutional behavior already. We have got the arch-conservative, the retiring Steve Noss, with a blistering statement about it. You have got just a whole lot about state government and state politics is wrapped up in this bill. Yes, it's about gambling, but really it's about more than that. Before we get to any of that, though, let's get you caught up on what President Trump was up to on this St. Patrick's Day. It's your Daily Trump Date.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
The president taking part in the traditional St. Patrick's Day festivities today, speaking this afternoon at the Friends of Ireland luncheon and praising the long history of Irish migration to the U.S. ahead of the nation's 250th birthday.
Since the beginning of the conflict, we've struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran. And these have been mostly commercial and military targets.
All right, that is obviously not President Trump talking about the Irish. We have struck a whole lot of targets in Dublin. Galway is completely blown apart. The Irish Navy is no more. We have assassinated the Taoiseach. That's the wrong. All right, how about we play this one? No, the Taoiseach is fine. Don't worry about the Taoiseach. Here we go.
As part of this great celebration, we also honor 250 years of cherished Irish-American friendship and 250 years of fierce, proud, tenacious Irish-American heritage. These are incredible people. Oh, I know so many Irish. They're difficult, though, you know. They're very difficult. And they're great politicians.
They certainly are. Yeah, producer Eric, we got another wrong cut in there. What's going on? You take a couple of days off. Okay, how much Irish whiskey did you consume this morning? Only 4 shots? All right, well, you're doing better than I thought you were. In producer Eric's defense, usually when he should be getting ready for this stuff, I'm talking his ear off during the news break and commercial breaks. So I'm very distracting to work with, in case you couldn't figure that out. Now, the president did talk, of course, about the military operation in Iran. Here's the clip we accidentally played before.
Frankly, as somebody said, they could leave today and it would take 10 years to rebuild the damage that's been done. But I think we have to make it a little bit more permanent because no other president has to go through this, and we shouldn't have any other president having to go through this kind of a thing. And if they didn't want to do it, if for some reason they didn't want to do it, we'd have the same problem. We don't ever want to have that problem again, not with lunatics. We can't have lunatics controlling nuclear weaponry. So I just want to thank everybody.
Now, earlier today, the president, as is tradition, greeted the Taoiseach, Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin. He was at the White House today. And, of course, the big topic of conversation between the two was Iran. The president was asked whether or not he considers this to be an actual war or, as he put it the other day, an excursion.
Iran is just a military operation to me. Iran is something that was essentially largely over in 2 or 3 days because the Navy was wiped out almost immediately. The Air Force came next. The anti-aircraft came next. I mean, we're flying over Iran. We could take out their electric capacity in 1 hour. We have all there's nothing they can do right now because everything is knocked out. They have no radar, no anti-aircraft. They have nothing. And we don't, and it was a decision I made. We discussed it, Pete, Marco, JD, all of us, Chris, we discussed it. We can knock out their electricity in a matter of minutes if we wanted to. There's nothing they can do about it.
Now, the president said that this operation would conclude very, very quickly. However, he chided America's erstwhile allies for not lending their support to the defense of the Strait of Hormuz.
We're not ready to leave yet, but we'll be leaving in the near future. We'll be leaving in pretty much the very near future. But right now, they've been decimated from every standpoint. And again, we've had great support from countries in the Middle East, great support, but we've had no support from, essentially, no support from NATO.
Now, the president was, of course, asked, all right, the NATO allies, you're ticked off at them, yeah?
NATO for not supporting you on this. Any repercussions? Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Yeah. kind of sad that they're not going to help. So far, NATO allies have all rebuffed America's requests to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your daily Trump date. People texting in with more suggestions for St. Patrick's Day movies. How could I forget about this one? I watched this when I was a kid again at my grandfather's house, my grandma and grandpa's house. We always did. It was a tradition in my family. We would do corned beef and cabbage because, of course, and a lot of my aunts and uncles would come in, and my mom and dad, and we go to grandma and grandpa's house, and it was like every St. Patrick's Day we'd have corned beef and cabbage. It was an Irish family tradition. And a movie they put on when I was really young was Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Remember that one? Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Did you ever watch that, producer Eric? No, it's from either early 60s or late 1950s. It, I believe, is the very first film role of Sean Connery. Yes, Sean Connery is like 20-some years old. He is the lead actor. I want to say Janet Munro is the female lead. And yeah, he is uber Scottish, but I think this was a Disney one. And yeah, it was a Walt Disney production film. All right, I got it up. Yeah, and he goes to the land of the little people. I don't know how I forgot about Darby O'Gill and the Little People. I will warn you, if you put it on for your kids, it is very 1950. It came out in 1959. That is, it is old. Let's see. What are some other ones? Far and Away. That is another good one. Waking Ned Devine is another excellent Irish film. All right, so the Save America Act, it is going to go to the floor. And this is significant because 51 Republicans did advance this bill, meaning there are 51 Republican senators in support of this. And earlier today, before this U.S. Senate floor session, Majority Leader John Thune said, look, it's just common sense to require voter ID and to require proof of citizenship, because just look at all of the things that you cannot live in modern American society without a photo
Just
ID.
to sort of illustrate, I think, how this issue is something that a lot of people resonate with and connect to, is the fact that pretty much everything you do in your daily life involves showing an ID. Whether it's opening a bank account, getting a hotel room, picking up prescription drugs. You need a card in many cases just to get into a library. I mean, these are things that are just basic, fundamental aspects of our everyday life. We certainly ought to be able to apply them to something as important as voting in this country. And if you think about it, even the Democrats who are complaining loudly about this required a photo ID to get into the Democrat National Convention. And there are a number of our colleagues, Democrat colleagues on the other side of the aisle, who require a photo ID just to attend their official events.
Isn't that interesting? And it's not just that. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who has been a very vocal opponent of the Save America Act, even going so far as to call it, what else, Jim Crow 2.0, in 1996 was on the floor of the Senate in support of ID to get social welfare benefits so as to prevent fraud by illegal immigrants.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
So to stop fraud in benefits, we need to require ID. What about stopping fraud in voting? How is that different exactly? Now, the argument that Democrats have been making, Schumer especially, is that, okay, it's not so much about voter ID, which is a lie. They say it's the citizenship requirement because it's just so onerous. Married women just are going to not be able to vote. They can't figure out how to change their name when they get married on any of their documents. This sounds insanely sexist to me, but what do I know? Brand new poll from YouGov and The Economist asked very simply, do you support providing proof of citizenship for voting? In order to register to vote, should you have to prove if you're a citizen? Guess how many people, guess what percentage of Americans support this? This was just in the field March 13th through yesterday. Just guess. 64%, almost 2/3 of Americans support providing documentary proof of citizenship in order to register to vote. 64 to 29%. Independent voters support this by 21 points. Black voters by 13 points. Hispanic voters by 18 points. The only people who oppose it by 18 points are Democrats. Every single demographic of people except hardcore liberal Democrats support requiring proof of citizenship to ward off fraud. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. When we come back, we'll get to the state Senate, also more on the Save America Act. It's a jam-packed St. Patrick's Day show here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City Now.
Ocean. Passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
And requiem for a dying song. Need a shimmy in the shake from a view tower. With the sun that lights that day. Brings the darkness and the
This might actually be my favorite Celtic punk song. It's between this and God Willing by the Dropkick Murphys. It is Requiem for a Dying Song by Flogging Molly. Again, we've got the Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music playlist up on Spotify. Just search for it. Easy to find to provide the soundtrack for your St. Patrick's Day. Of course, I will offer my annual plea. If you are out there and you're partying, it is very easy to get an Uber. It is very easy to get a sober friend to drive you home. This is one of the most dangerous days on the roads for drunk driving for obvious reasons, because it's such a very popular drinking holiday. Please do be safe. Please don't drink and drive. Please be responsible, and please have fun today, tonight, and whatever you are doing, whether you're going out to the pubs, whether you're having corned beef and cabbage at home, whether you're watching one of the great Irish films that our listeners are suggesting, a number of other coming in. The Irishman, yes, it's Scorsese. Yes, it's De Niro. Yes, it's Pacino. The issue that I have is it's about the guy who claims to have been the one who murdered oh my gosh, the guy who disappeared, the Union head, Jimmy Hoffa. Totally had a brain fart on that one. I've been thinking so much about the Irish side of my heritage, I completely blanked on the Sicilian side. Yeah, Jimmy Hoffa. The guy, he was totally full of crap. He was completely lying about everything. And it wasn't Scorsese's best work. He's got Final Cut, and he used it. The movie is just way too long. It's dull. Yes, Pacino as Hoffa is fantastic. Joe Pesci plays the mob boss Russell Buffalino, and De Niro plays the main character, the hitman, the Irish guy who claims to have been the one to have whacked Jimmy Hoffa. But I didn't like it. I liked it. I didn't love it. I'll put it that way. I'm a sucker for gangster movies. Basically, if you want to know what Dan O'Donnell is watching, it's going to be Supernatural. It's going to be about a post-apocalyptic future, or it is going to be about gangsters. That's pretty much historical epics. I'm also a sucker for historical epics, but those are my favorite genre films. I just did not love The Irishman, as big of a fan of Scorsese as I am. All right, now, the Save America Act did pass a procedural hurdle, meaning debate is now going to be opened up on the floor of the U.S. Senate on the bill that would quite simply just verify people's identities by making them provide photo ID when they go to vote, and when they register to vote, to provide proof of citizenship. For 97% of people, for eligible voters in this country, it is very, very easy to be able to do this. People who say, well, I don't know where my birth certificate is. Yeah, okay, the county where you were. Do you remember the county where you were born? Yes? Okay, then they have a copy of it. And by the way, people are saying, well, they're going to go to the polls and they're going to find out that they're not registered to vote. Guess what? We have same-day registration here in Wisconsin. There is literally no excuse not to pass this. But the big debate that Republicans are having amongst themselves, just like in the state Senate, where the big debate over the online sports betting bill was, do we get rid of this procedural rule called the Rule of 17? Republicans are now asking themselves, do we get rid of, or do we modify the filibuster and get rid of this artificial 60-vote threshold in order to pass legislation? And the argument against it has been simply, if we do this, this will give Democrats the precedent that they would need to be able to completely do away with the filibuster whenever they retake power. Well, I actually went back and unearthed this clip from 2 years ago on MSNBC, where Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker, was talking with Katie Tur. And Tur was asking her about legislation that Democrats want to get passed. And she said, well, don't you need 2/3 of the Senate to get it passed? Pelosi's answer should completely decimate the concern that, oh, if Republicans do anything to the filibuster, only then will Democrats get rid of the filibuster.
It would take 2/3 in the Senate. You think the Democrats can get 2/3 in the Senate?
No, it doesn't get 2/3. No, it doesn't. I mean, 60 votes is the Senate now, but if we win 50 plus 1 in the Senate, 50 plus the vice president, we can overturn the 60-vote rule.
The filibuster.
The filibuster and pass it with a 51-vote margin. And that's what we need to do.
I want you to listen to that again. Did she say, well, if Republicans win the majority and they do anything to the filibuster, well, then that gives us the precedent? No! She said, if we win in 2024, as a whole lot of Democrats thought they were going to. Remember, there was the August 2024. There was about a 3-week to 5-week stretch in there where Democrats thought that, remember when they were pushing the Kamala is the hip, cool, Kamala is brat. Do you remember that? They were honestly trying to make that. It was a young people saying. It comes from Charlie XCX, the pop singer, and brat is like cool. Kamala is brat. This was brat summer. This was Kamala's brat summer. And the narrative they were going with was, honest to God, Trump and J.D. Vance are weird. They're weird. These are not the best and brightest human beings running the Democrat Party or its messaging. Weird. They're weird. But they actually thought that they were going to win the presidency. They were going to win the Senate. They were going to win the House. They would have a governing trifecta. And Pelosi flat out says, when we win back control of the Senate, we're totally getting rid of the filibuster.
That would take 2/3 in the Senate. You think the Democrats can get 2/3 in the Senate?
No, it doesn't get 2/3. No, it doesn't. I mean, 60 votes is the Senate now, but if we win 50 plus 1 in the Senate, 50 plus the vice president, we can overturn the 60-vote rule.
The filibuster.
The filibuster and pass it with a 51-vote margin. And that's what we need to do.
Of course they're going to do it. It doesn't matter what Republicans do. The filibuster is gone the second Democrats need the filibuster to be gone, and nobody will say boo because the media will go right back to the narrative that they were spitting out when Republicans were filibustering Barack Obama's legislation or Joe Biden's legislation, and that it is a racist filibuster, a racist relic the filibuster is of the Jim Crow South, and this was just used to try to block civil rights legislation, and we need to get rid of the filibuster. You can see this all coming from a mile away. You don't need to get rid of the filibuster. Just go back to a talking filibuster or go back to the one-track system of legislation where if a bill gets filibustered, you don't actually need to stand up and talk like Mr. Smith goes to Washington, but no other Senate business can be conducted until the filibuster is broken. It would dramatically cut down on filibusters, and you don't need to do anything. But rest assured, the filibuster is going to be gone as soon as Democrats retake power. We are going to go back to the state Senate, a conservative member absolutely blasting leadership for the online sports betting bill. Stay tuned. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Eastbound 94 going to be slammed from 84th over to 35th with the ongoing construction. Westbound from 27 to Mitchell Boulevard and 4145 northbound. You're stopping and going from Watertown Plank up to Hampton. Still got a crash off to the right in the roadwork zone at North. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, Tom McManus shares the story of his dad's unspoken service in World War II. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
This year, look your best with a little help from Anton Salon and M-Spa. Running low on product? Now is the time to stock up with our BOGO sale. All hair and skin retail products are buy one, get one half off now through the end of the month. Hair products from Aveda, Moroccanoil, Kevin Murphy, and Color Wow. Skin products from Revision, Skin Medica, Skin Better Science, and Latias. Stop in today at our Delafield location and see our unbelievable selection. Anton's famous BOGO sale. AntonSalon.com. Life. Look good in it.
Hello, folks. Scott Ferguson here, founder of American Medical Plans. For decades, we've helped small groups and individuals navigate through the minefield of health insurance.
When I turned 65 and got into Medicare, then I had to have the Medicare supplement. Got with Scott. Scott gave me many options of different plans. They even have plans that have no deductible, have no cost to me at all.
When you call American Medical Plans, you're always going to talk to somebody personally. You're not going to hit 0. You're not going to hit 1. You're not going to get a runaround. You're always going to talk to somebody live.
It's really important to me how businesses run, and I appreciate the integrity that Scott Ferguson runs his business with.
I'd highly recommend American Medical Plans.
American Medical Plans were incredible. They answered every question that I had, even questions I didn't know that I had.
Please give us a call today. Let us show you how to both save money and increase your benefits. You're worth it. Call today.
Call Scott Ferguson at 833-500-PLAN. That's 833-500-7526. Or go to AmericanMedicalPlans.com.
Do you have at least 1 month worth of food in your pantry? If not, you should definitely go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. My Patriot Supply is America's #1 supplier of long-term storable food. They've helped over 3 million Americans get prepared. And for a limited time, when you order their best-selling 4-week food supply, you'll get an additional week of food absolutely free. There's no catch, but act fast because this offer ends soon. Claim your free emergency food kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass. I've been saying for years that Mander is your best decision after a collision, and here's why. My son was in a very minor fender bender during a snowstorm, and both he and the other driver, who happened to be a loyal listener, took their vehicles to Mander. The parts were ordered quickly, and they arrived faster than we thought possible. The customer service and workmanship were exceptional. That's what sets Mander apart. You're not just a number or just another job to them. You're a person who needs their car back quickly and looking as good as new, and Mander understands this and delivers every time. That's why they back up all of their work with a lifetime warranty, and that's also why I just can't recommend them highly enough. With locations across the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's one near you. So start your repair online at mandercollision.com.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD, located in Brookfield and Mequon. Intravenous ketamine is superior to ketamine lozenges because we can control exactly how much ketamine is in the patient's blood and therefore reaching critical brain receptors, not making guesses about absorption rates and amounts. Our clinics empower patients to reset and restore their relationships, including their most important relationship, the one with themselves. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
This winter might not have been the worst one on record, but it's up there. Aside from being hard on people, it's even tougher on our homes. Hi, it's Jay from my friends at Semperfi Roofing. If the freeze-thaw cycles this winter created even the slightest crack in the shingles or sealant on your roof, you're going to have water in your home this spring when the rains hit. That's why you need to call Semperfi today and schedule a free 21-point roof inspection before the rainy season. They'll go over every inch of your roof and review their findings with you, and if they do find a problem, it can usually be fixed with an inexpensive repair. But if it is time for a new roof, you couldn't hire a better company than Semperfi. They offer over-the-top customer service, have highly skilled crews that install a perfect roof every time, and best of all, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. So give them a call for your free roof inspection today, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like the Beatles Now and Then, celebrating all things Beatles.
Together, you say goodbye, and I say hello.
Legendary clips, deep cuts, live performances, and all their solo hits.
And on the run.
Listen commercial-free. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Beatles Now and Then, and make it your next preset.
iHeartRadio.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart. And not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Siobhan is on the whiskey. Siobhan is on the gin. Siobhan is like a rebel and vodka won't be home again. I stay up late and everything right. I know it is no sin. Siobhan is on the whiskey and she won't be home again.
the Tossers in the St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Sláinte. And welcome back to it. Some things you should know about St. Patrick's Day if you plan on going out tonight. And I am actually serious about this. First of all, for obvious reasons, if you ever find yourself in Dublin, do not ever, under any circumstances, order an Irish car bomb in Ireland. It is just super offensive. Obviously, it's reference to the Troubles, the long period following the War for Independence between the Irish, Catholic Irish, and the Protestants, those from the north who aligned themselves with England, and the Catholic South that fought and won their independence. And a whole lot of Irish history is wrapped up in that War for Independence that was finally won in 1922. Another bit of etiquette that people don't understand. What is the most popular type of beer? Yes, Guinness. But you mix Guinness with Harp in a beer known as what? A black and tan, right? No. Do not order a black and tan, or at the very least, do not call it a black and tan. I happen to love black and tans. I'm not currently drinking right now, so I guess my Irish drink of choice is going to be a Sprite. Maybe they can put some green dye in it so I can have a green Sprite on St. Patrick's Day. But a black and tan, do you ever wonder why it was called black and tan? Or what the connection to Ireland is? Yes, because the Guinness is black and the Harp Lager or Smittix or whatever it is, it's tan in color, so it's a black and tan. The Black and Tans were an English mercenary force during the War for Independence that was known for being just brutal and cruel to the Irish freedom fighters, and they would just viciously beat them. They would torture them. The Black and Tans were absolutely hated in Ireland. So if you want to show respect to the Irish today, don't order a black and tan. Call it a half and half. And if the bartender says, "What's that?" Yes, it's a it's a black and tan. It's still a black and tan. The state Senate here in Wisconsin passed the so-called online sports betting bill today. It is almost certainly going to face a constitutional challenge because, frankly, I don't believe that this is constitutional. Article 4, Section 24 of Wisconsin's Constitution specifically deals with gambling. It provides that an act of the legislature cannot establish a new form of gambling. Only the people of Wisconsin, through constitutional amendment, can do that. Is online sports betting a new form of gambling? Now, supporters of it who believe it's constitutional say, no, it's not new. You're still betting on sports. It's just a new delivery mechanism to make those bets. But people who I think are more in the nuance of gambling say, well, yes, absolutely it is a new form of gambling. Is online video poker the same as playing poker at a casino? No. Online poker is fundamentally different. It is poker that is played online. It is a different game. In order to therefore get online sports betting legalized, it would require not an act of the legislature, not a bill signed by Governor Evers, and not an alteration of Wisconsin's gaming compact, but rather a constitutional amendment, meaning the same bill would need to pass, setting up a constitutional amendment, it would need to pass in 2 consecutive legislative sessions, and then it would go to the people in the form of a ballot question. If the people approve, then online sports betting could be allowed. It could be legal. The compacts could be opened up and renegotiated. I don't know, frankly, how the Wisconsin Supreme Court is likely to rule on that. Frankly, I don't know. I'm going to take a wild guess. It's whatever Democrats want, because that's how the Supreme Court always rules. The retiring conservative state senator Steve Noss from Whitewater, today after the vote on the online sports betting bill, and by the way, it did pass with significant Republican opposition. 9 Republican senators defected. That is half of the caucus. Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu passed this bill with almost no support in his caucus. That's actually kind of remarkable. Noss issued a statement just blasting LeMahieu, Vos, everyone in leadership. Today, the people of Wisconsin should have no lingering doubts as to how morally corrupt this state legislature has become in only doing the business of very powerful special interests. The public is overwhelmingly opposed to the tribal online gambling bill and the UW-NIL bill, but the voters of this state clearly don't matter to legislative leaders when campaign cash is flowing to grease the skids. The problem for legislative Republicans is that our core voters will hold us to account for selling out their interests, and the passage of these 2 unpopular bills will help pave the way to minority status for Republicans come November. Wisconsin Republicans have done little to economically help families and small businesses, but our GOP leaders fought to force taxpayers to begin subsidizing million-dollar payments for UW athletes and further enrich tribal casino operators. Now, I have been monitoring the state Senate. Did the NIL bill pass? It might have. Well, I was focused on the United States Senate. I'm taking a wild guess. It is going to pass. I don't believe it has yet come up for a vote, but it is going to pass. There are going to be a handful of Republican defectors, but no, I guess there has not been a vote. I thought Noss was a little premature on that, but that's fine. That's fine. I mean, it is going to pass. It absolutely does apply. And this is the thing that is just so sleazy about all this. It may be that the overwhelming majority of people in this state want online sports betting. I believe online sports betting should be legal. I mean, yes, it's addictive. Yes, it has clear drawbacks. The addictive nature of it is the biggest one. But millions of people across the world can bet online on sports and have fun doing it, bet within their means and have no problems whatsoever. Why shouldn't Wisconsinites be able to do that? Here's the issue that I have. The hell do the tribes have anything to do with this? If Bet Potawatomi comes out with an app that will take online sports bets, and they want to put all of the money into it to develop the app, to get the server space to take the bets, sure, go ahead. But compete with DraftKings, compete with FanDuel, compete with BetMGM. Now, I could not possibly care less about any of these corporations, truly. But competition in a marketplace means better deals for consumers. Maybe there's more free play cash. FanDuel and DraftKings are constantly doing, okay, we'll double your next bet or something like that, or you get $50 in free play if you sign up for a new account. Why do they do that? Because there is fierce competition in the international online betting marketplace. There would be no marketplace for online sports betting in Wisconsin because the tribes would take 60% of the profits for doing nothing. They would essentially corner the market on online sports betting, and they would operate like a cartel, not a monopoly, but a cartel. A cartel is simply a group of supposedly independent organizations like drug gangs that carve up territory and operate together to get joint interests taken care of. In southeast Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, the Potawatomi would have all of the servers for DraftKings and FanDuel and BetMGM and all of the major providers. They would take 60% of the profits from each from people who are betting in that area. The Oneida in their area would get the servers. The Ho-Chunk would get the servers. or there would be an agreement in place that the servers would be placed on the Potawatomi physical land because it's just simply the easiest to get to in Milwaukee, and the other tribes would all get a cut based on how many bets are coming in from their areas. The point is, taxpayers lose because if DraftKings and if FanDuel are simply allowed to operate without going through the tribes, it's theoretically not subject to the gaming compacts, which were terrible deals for taxpayers. We do not get a fraction of what we should in gambling revenue. The tribes take all of it because it's on tribal land and because, again, Diamond Jim Doyle on April Fool's Day 2003, in a political payback for the tribes that basically single-handedly funded his successful gubernatorial run. They gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars in a rather obviously corrupt bargain to get the gaming compacts reopened, renegotiated, and Doyle actually changed the compacts so that they were forever compacts, that no future governor, no future legislature could ever open them up again. Not surprisingly, the Supreme Court struck it down. Then the Supreme Court changes hands. The Liberals win a majority, and they open up this discussion again. They revisit their decision, and they allow Governor Doyle's corrupt bargain to go through again, to pass constitutional muster. We're stuck getting a fraction of what we should get from tribal gaming because of those compacts. And before you say, well, Dan, if a competition to the Potawatomi Sportsbook were to open up, the state would have to pay a massive penalty. Oh, no, it wouldn't, because the state could simply force FanDuel and BetMGM, the Sports Gaming Alliance, or whatever they call themselves, the trade organization that opposes this bill. They would say, you want to operate in Wisconsin, guess what? You got to pay the tribes, whatever the violation of the gaming compact would be. But again, all of this is sort of a moot point because this is almost certainly unconstitutional. This almost certainly violates Article 4, Section 24 of the Wisconsin Constitution. Senator Noss is right to do all of this, to give the tribes such a big giveaway, to violate the Constitution, and to do something a clear majority of Wisconsinites don't want to do. You want online sports betting? Just allow people to bet online. It's as simple as that. Let the online sports betting providers figure out how much they're going to have to pay to horn in on the native tribes' turf. But creating a government-backed cartel or giving increased power to a gambling cartel that already exists, that's terrible policy. And it's very obvious why it was done, because of all the campaign cash that is coming in, because of all of the special interest lobbying. It is just the worst of the worst swampy behavior coming from Republicans. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll name the unsung hero of the day next.
Here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound on 4394 on the exit to National. You got a stalled vehicle. You get by on the left there. Southbound 43 going to be jammed from Keefe to the Marquette. Northbound from the Marquette up to State, and then Fond du Lac to Center. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Infinity Exteriors. On your way to and from work and in your neighborhood, every day you drive by a beautiful Infinity Exteriors home. Infinity is proud to be chosen Wisconsin's residential roofing contractor of the year. Start your project at infinityexteriors.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
The only real estate agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. For homeowners that are planning to list a property for sale, when should they start preparing, and what key steps should they prioritize during the initial stages?
Sean, if you're thinking about selling this spring, the time to start preparing is now, not when the first sign goes up in the neighborhood. The spring market starts early. It's on us now, and the homes that hit the market first get the most attention. That's why we recommend call us ahead of time. We create a custom step-by-step to-do list for your home. We'll get you to prioritize the thing that mattered most: decluttering, fresh paint, simple updates. We don't need you over-guessing, over-improving, and in a competitive market, speed beats precision every time.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 five-star reviews.
Welcome back to Ask Hasslis.
I thought you didn't have any employees.
That's right. Our showrooms are employee-free.
But you still answer the phone?
Of course. Order Sealy Posturepedic and Beauty Rest mattresses by phone, online, or at our in-store kiosk.
No employees.
Saves you money. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Keep this up and you'll be named Non-Employee of the Month.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasslis.com.
The best-looking homes in southeastern Wisconsin are accented by decorative concrete landscaping from Porter's Borders. With a variety of colors and styles, Porter's Borders adds beauty to your property. Go to the website to get your free quote now, portersborders.com.
Shag carpet, avocado appliances, no frills backyards. A lot has changed. For 100 years, the Realtors Home and Garden Show, presented by Unilock, has showcased what's next, helping homeowners and gardeners rethink the way they live, indoors and out. This year's 100th annual show is packed with ideas for today, from smart homes to outdoor living spaces. Join us March 20th through 29th at State Fair Park. Buy tickets at mkehgs.com.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where your kids take their first steps, where holidays happen, and where life unfolds. That's why the team you trust to protect it matters. As our customers' needs grow and change, so have ours. Wisco Roofing and Windows has now expanded into Northern Illinois and will be going by Wilco Exteriors. Same owners, same crew, same warranty, and same promise to take care of your home like it's our own. To kick off a new chapter, Wilco is offering 0% financing for 12 months and 20% off your next project. So don't wait to start those pesky summer projects later. Start now. Visit wilcoext.com. That's wilcoext.com to book your free window, roofing, or siding estimate today. And the first 20 homeowners to book an appointment will also receive a free $50 Visa gift card. So again, visit wilcoext.com. That's wilcoext.com. Wilco Exteriors, built with integrity.
When I decided to remodel my kitchen, it was important to see more than just designs and drawings. Wisconsin Kitchen Mart made it easy with more complete kitchen and bath displays than anywhere else. The showroom made all the difference when making important design decisions. Along with their talented team of experienced designers, decorators, and installers, my dream kitchen came to life.
Celebrate 75 years with Wisconsin Kitchen Mart and save. Book your consultation by the end of May and take advantage of our Celebration Savings event. For 75 years, Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has been creating kitchen and bathroom remodels that truly set us apart. We know your kitchen needs to function like a well-oiled machine, and so does your bathroom. That's why our designs work with your existing space to elevate both function and style. Visit our 18,000 square foot showroom and explore all our complete displays featuring Play-Doh custom cabinetry, countertops, fixtures, flooring, and appliances, all under one roof. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart. Visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com for more information and your free consultation.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. On this St. Patrick's Day, we will dive into the history of the holiday, why it is the ultimate all-American holiday. Seems paradoxical, but it is true. That's coming up in the next hour right now. Unsung Hero of the Day. Today's unsung hero of the day is Wisconsin State Senator Van Wanggaard. He is a former police officer. He is a former county board supervisor. He dedicated his entire life to the service of the people, and he announced today that he is retiring after becoming the longest-serving Republican senator currently in the Senate. He is a great guy, and we are going to miss him, but we wish him well. State Senator Van Wanggaard, your unsung hero of the day.
All Programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. While the blizzard Sunday into Monday slammed central Wisconsin particularly hard, that doesn't mean we weren't spared heavy snow around here. Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
Watertown 10.5, West Bend 10.5. Those are pretty big numbers, right? McWanago about 8 inches, Menominee Falls 6, and Kenosha about 5. I did see a couple of lower totals across Racine and Kenosha County, especially near Lake Michigan, but still we all had a lot of shoveling, a lot of clearing we had to do yesterday.
State Senator Van Wanggaard, who has held his northern Racine and southwestern Milwaukee County seat since 2010, says he will not be running for re-election. And the Israeli military today claimed they killed another top Iranian secretary official during a recent series of strikes. Fox's Trey Yingst.
Major strikes overnight. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz says Ali Larijani, a top Iranian official, was killed in one of those strikes. Larijani was the secretary for Iran's Supreme National Security Council, and he was in the streets of Tehran just on Friday, threatening President Trump and the United States. In a separate strike, the top commander for the besieged forces, Gholam Reza Soleimani, was also killed, along with a dozen other top Iranian officials from that wing of the IRGC.
Checking the Holiday Automotive Final Export scoreboard, it's the Bucks and Cavs tonight at Fiserv. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show is presented by Wershevsky Law.
Football players, actors, or real trial attorneys injured? It is about the money. Wershevsky Law.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by ReamerRomano.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Increasing clouds tonight with snow moving in after 11 o'clock. The snow will end by 7 a.m. Around 1 inch of accumulation possible. Temperatures in the 20s, 39 for a high on Wednesday. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by the Brooke and Jeffrey Second Date Podcast.
Your date laughed. The food was great, and then nothing. Ghosted. Vanished. Witness protection?
Oh, maybe.
Perhaps? Yeah. We'll call them and get answers you may not want to hear.
Yeah, it's Brooke and Jeffrey's Second Date Update on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Ross Dental's extremely accurate laser dentistry saves irreplaceable tooth, is painless for most patients with 0 shots or anesthesia. If fear of pain has prohibited you from smiling like you just don't care, Ross Dental is pain-free, judgment-free, cutting-edge dentistry. RossDentalNewBerlin.com.
What are you doing?
I'm setting up the Art of Options sectional.
That's a popular pick at Penny Mustard.
But why is it so long?
I wanted to create the world's longest sectional that wraps around the entire showroom.
Well, the Art of Options is powered by a rechargeable battery, so it can literally go anywhere.
So what are you going to build next?
The world's longest coffee table.
The Art of Options reclining sectional starting at $92.65 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms to apply.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
If you have a smart speaker, listening to WISN has never been easier. Just tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio. Then sit back and enjoy the excellence. Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning for informational purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Joe Still with your closing business report. The major averages moved higher today, building on gains from the previous session, while attacks in Iran drove oil prices higher. Volatile oil prices and the fallout of the Iran conflict continue to influence investor sentiment. Despite the higher prices for jet fuel, airline stocks jumped higher following strong revenue guidance. Delta Airlines gained more than 6% after its CEO said the demand has been great, resulting in higher revenue growth than initially expected. On the day, the Dow was up 47 to 46,993. The S&P 500 rose 16, and the NASDAQ was up 105 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Joe Still.
Show, final hour on this St. Patrick's Day. Hope all of you are having a fun and safe evening. I would be remiss if I did not mention county buses free, I believe, after 6 p.m. in Milwaukee County. It is so easy, folks. My mom is using Uber now. All right, my mom. You can use Uber. It is so easy to get a ride anywhere, anytime. Uber is like the best. Lyft, too. I have a very good friend named Scott, loyal listener, who drives for Lyft. Lyft is a very good app as well. But just get a ride. I know it's a huge drinking day, green beer and so forth. I myself am going out to the pub after. No, I'm not going to drink, most likely. I've extended dry January. I call it dry Danuary, and I've decided I'm just going to keep it going as long as I can. Most likely. Yeah, most likely is doing a whole lot of heavy lifting there, as my producer Eric says. All right, top stories we're following right now. The Wisconsin State Senate has passed the online sports betting bill 21-12, with the Republican caucus evenly split, 9 voting in favor, 9 opposed. That violates the Senate's Rule of 17 and puts significant pressure on Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu to potentially step down. But we reported exclusively yesterday that it's very likely that LeMahieu is not going to seek re-election. State Senator Van Wanggaard announced today that he is retiring. The longest-serving Republican state senator said that health challenges and his age, he's 73 years old, made it impossible for him to run again, even though he badly wanted to. Now, this puts Republicans in a bind, as the 4 most competitive seats are now going to be without an incumbent, as Republicans look to hold on to a slim 18-15 majority. In the United States Senate, the Republicans have advanced the Save America Act on a 51-48 vote. Republican Tom Tillis apparently was not able to make the vote. He was stuck in North Carolina waiting for a plane. How do I know that? Because Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden tweeted out that both he and Tillis were waiting for the same plane because of weather delays and the horrific TSA backlogs caused by the Democrat DHS shutdown. Responsible for that, it is very likely that Tillis would have voted to advance the legislation. It faces an uncertain future because of the Democrat filibuster. And President Trump spent today talking about the war with Iran. He took part in the traditional Irish St. Patrick's Day meetings with the Prime Minister, the Taoiseach of Ireland, as well as attending a special luncheon. All right. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show this hour, 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. That's our toll-free talk and text line. You can also email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please do subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio. Yes, St. Patrick's Day does hold a very special place in my heart, folks, because you have to understand, as someone of Irish descent and someone who has about the most Irish last name that you could possibly have, O'Donnell, in my family, St. Patrick's Day was always a really big thing. So St. Patrick's Day, along with Christmas time, are the days I really remember my grandma and grandpa, my Aunt Margaret, my Aunt Nora, who are no longer with us, because it was such a big part of my life. We always celebrated with grandma's homemade soda bread, corned beef and cabbage. We would always go to Grandma and Grandpa's house for St. Patrick's Day. Grandpa would always watch The Quiet Man, and it just reminds me of them. But in a very real sense, St. Patrick's Day is about all of us as Americans, whether or not we're actually Irish. See, here's the thing about St. Patrick himself. He wasn't actually Irish at all. And that's actually kind of what makes his story so special. He was born Maewyn Succat in a town in Britain, which was occupied by the Romans in the late 300s AD. He later in life adopted the Roman name Patricius. Now, as a teenager, he was actually captured by pirates and held as a slave for 6 years. Now, as a kid, he was never religious at all, even though his father was a deacon in the early Christian church. But when he was a slave, as they say, there are no atheists in foxholes, he found God and devoted his life to Christianity, converted to Christianity. He escaped his slavery and made his way back home to Britain. And his faith kept him from being bitter at the Irish pagans who had enslaved him. He actually decided that he would make it his life's work to return to Ireland and convert it to Christianity. Do you know why the shamrock is the symbol of Ireland? Because Patricius actually used the 3 leaves to teach the Irish natives about the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. His conversion was incredibly successful. Within about a century or so, Ireland became one of Europe's great bastions of Christianity. And for more than 1,000 years, Ireland marked Patricius's birthday, March 17th, with mass and feasts in celebration of a foreigner who came and changed their country forever. But really, no nation was as changed by St. Patrick's Day as the United States. And as only we can here in America, we turn St. Patrick's Day into a uniquely American celebration of all of the foreigners who helped us make the nation that we now love. The Irish potato blight was at its height in the 1840s and 1850s, and poor Catholic immigrants flooded into America by the tens of thousands. Most of them settled in New York City and Boston, and frankly, they were despised, just as Irish immigrants had pretty much been throughout the nation's history. In 1772, British soldiers who were homesick while patrolling colonial New York marched through the city to a breakfast feast in what's considered the very first St. Patrick's Day parade. But as the new Irish immigrants started coming into New York and Boston and settling along the eastern seaboard, they faced a whole lot of hate. Americans resented them for this feast because it was seen as a vestige of the hated British colonial rule. They remembered the British marching through the streets on St. Patrick's Day, and American nativists began patty making, burning effigies of Irishmen with potatoes and bottles of whiskey in their hands until the practice was actually banned in the early 1800s. Still, the resentment of the Irish in America grew with each new wave of immigration from the Emerald Isle until it really reached a boiling point midway through the century. But then the Civil War broke out. Thousands of those Irish immigrants enlisted. Many were conscripted, but many volunteered to serve their new home. And they actually served the Union with distinction, a number of them winning high honors and, more importantly, winning the respect of their peers. And at long last, they started to gain acceptance into American society. And the perfect way to honor their contributions, especially in New York and Boston, where politicians began to curry their favor to win their votes, well, it was St. Patrick's Day. Those politicians started attending the parades with the Irish. They started attending their St. Patrick's Day feasts. St. Patrick's Day, you see, became the vehicle by which those Irish immigrants became fully American. As the broader culture celebrated their traditions with them, they assimilated into that broader culture to create a celebration that serves as sort of the perfect metaphor for the cultural melting pot that America had become. The traditional Irish meal of corned beef, cabbage in America. Well, back in Ireland, it wasn't corned beef at all. It was ham and cabbage. But immigrants purchased cheap salted beef from Chinese merchant sailors in New York's harbor. Corned beef was not a thing in Ireland. It's a uniquely American addition to the St. Patrick's Day celebration. Now, the American Industrial Revolution allowed for the mass production of green clothes and hats and eventually green beer, which all became staples of the American St. Patrick's Day. Heck, Chicago even dyes its river green every St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is a party. Above all, it's a celebration where people of all races, all religions, all creeds are on one day a year, all of us, a little bit Irish. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back after this.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
4145 northbound at North Avenue. Crash cleanup on the right shoulder in the roadwork zone. 43 northbound heavy from the Marquette to State from an earlier accident. And then you got a stall off to the right up at Mequon Road. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
Tax refund time is here. It's the Your Refund, Your Ride event at the Lynch family of dealerships. Put your refund toward your next vehicle and upgrade your ride today. Happening now. Visit shoplynch.com.
We honor the biggest stars from all genres of music that you love listening to all year long.
Don't miss our 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. Watch live on Fox Thursday, March 26th.
Starting at 7 p.m.
And listen on iHeartRadio stations across America and the free iHeart app.
Trashy is a proud partner of the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. This spring, turn your closet clutter into rewards with the Take Back Bag. Learn more and get started at trashy.io.
When business slows down, some companies race to the bottom. Lower prices, faster jobs, corners cut, less service, less time spent where you don't see it. We've chosen a different path. At Color Wheel Painting, we maintain high standards year-round. Careful prep, proper materials, professional crews who respect your home. We won't be the lowest bid, but we will stand behind the work long after the sale signs come down. ColorWheelPainting.com. Not cheap, worth every penny. Some homeowners pay once. Some homeowners pay twice. The first time, for the lowest bid. The second time, to fix it. This time of year, there are painters offering prices that sound almost too good to be true. Sometimes they are. Because professional painting isn't a race. It's prep, protection, process. At Color Wheel Painting, we don't cut corners to cut price. We do it right, so you only do it once. We're the right investment, worth every penny. ColorWheelPainting.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Find the secret for losing up to 30 pounds in a month or two. That's 1 pound of fat every day. We do this safely and effectively, resetting your metabolism so you keep the weight off for good. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio. And listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows.
Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
The unofficial anthem of Dublin, Ireland, Molly Malone. In the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation, I believe this is Johnny Logan and Friends, their rendition of the traditional Irish classic. No word on whether there actually was Molly Malone, who was a fishmonger, and sure 'tis no wonder, for so were her mother and father before. But there is actually a statue of Molly Malone in Dublin because of the popularity of the song. It is just universally beloved there. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show on this St. Patrick's Day. I firmly do believe that St. Patrick's Day is sort of the perfect holiday for America. Christmas too, really, because St. Patrick's Day is the first time America explicitly celebrated immigrants to this country, people who came here and made their way in the world, seeing America as a land of opportunity. But unlike the people who are coming in illegally today, and let's be clear here, the Irish who are coming in the great waves of Irish migration, first in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and then it really accelerated with the potato famine caused by the blight of the 1840s through about the 1870s. They all came legally, and they were invited to come because the expanding America, through the concept of manifest destiny, pushing all the way from New York and Boston, where many of the Irish settled, all the way west. A whole lot of the Irish worked on the Transcontinental Railroad. That's where a lot of them spread throughout the rest of the country. Later on, you had German immigrants, many of whom settled in Milwaukee, became beer barons, very, very wealthy. And the Italians also settling in Wisconsin. Really, the major immigrants to Wisconsin, obviously Polish, German, Italian, Irish immigrants. You had some English, but those were the four big ones from Europe. The big thing about those waves of migration is that they fully assimilated into American culture. And for generation after generation after generation, yes, my family was immigrants. My family, the O'Donnell side of the family, came, I want to say the 1880s, 1890s. The other side of my family, the Lamponi style, which the Lamponi side of the family, that translates in Italian to raspberry. So you can take a wild guess what my Italian ancestors were doing in Milazzo, Sicily, where they were originally from. They're raspberry farmers. Or at least they were farmers and were probably very well known for their raspberries, because eventually they took on the last name. Interesting little thing, when I believe it was my great-grandfather came to Ellis Island, his name was changed. It was actually, the spelling was changed from Lamponi, which is how you spell the word for raspberry in Italian, to Lampone. I suspect that is every Lamponi, like Rocco Lamponi, the character from the Godfather films. It was Lamap. Hell, my Italian's terrible. But E would have been pronounced, I would have been pronounced E. So when he was spelling his name for whoever it was that was checking him in at Ellis Island, would have written down an E. And we think that's how the name was changed to Lamponi with an E. So my family story is very similar to most family stories in this country. We can't trace our roots back to the Mayflower or to the founding of this country. We came much later. But it was so important to every one of those immigrants to become part of American society. They wanted nothing more than acceptance into the broader culture. They wouldn't dream of, at least most of them, wouldn't dream of committing widespread fraud. And while, yes, I'm well aware of the stereotypes of the Sicilian side of my family and crime, so no, I'm not in a glass house casting stones at the Somalis here. But the overwhelming majority of Sicilians despised the mafia because they were being victimized by the mafiosi in the 1920s and the 1930s. In fact, my mother got her start in the law. I think I've talked about it. I'm very, very proud of my mom. She and another woman who eventually became an appellate court judge, they were the first two female circuit court judges elected. They were ever elected. Vel Phillips was the first one ever appointed in the 1960s, about 15, 16 years before Mom, but she lost her election bid. Mom was actually elected. She was elected to be a Milwaukee County first female ever. She actually started in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and she was one of the prosecutors of Sally Papilla. Do you remember, the girlfriend of Frank Balistreri? One of her first big cases was she actually cross-examined Sally Papilla on the witness stand because she was a young Sicilian woman, and Sally Papilla was a young-ish Sicilian woman. And it was that sort of opposition to criminality, to fraud, to just anti-American activity that was the hallmark of the immigrant experience for the entire age of European immigration. What happened throughout that era was America really grew up because it truly was enriched by culture. We took, and why I say St. Patrick's Day and Christmas are sort of the ultimate American holidays. Christmas especially. Christmas, as we celebrate it, is a complete pastiche of all of the immigrant cultures that came to America and brought a little piece of their Christmas traditions with them. But they all became Americans. I can remember my grandma and grandpa Lamponi on my mom's side. They've all been dead for 25, 30 years now. They would speak Italian in the home. And they would speak Italian when they didn't want my little brother and I, when they were watching us, to know what they were saying. It was usually grandma swearing at grandpa because he was hanging out with his buddies and playing. My grandpa played accordion in Italian restaurants across southeast Wisconsin. He actually played, you know how old school he is? He played with a young guitarist by the name of Les Paul, if you can believe that. Yeah. But they were always, it was, the Italian culture was very strong in that household, and they spoke Italian, but they never taught my mom or her older brothers Italian because you're American. Like, you speak English. It's just, you know, once you come to America, you don't abandon your cultural identity, but you become American. You become an American version of the culture that you left behind. It doesn't mean ending your traditions, but it also doesn't mean setting up your own little fiefdom and being openly hostile to this country. The immigrant experience, especially by the Irish, was one of just pure, unadulterated love for this country. And that's something that in this latest wave of illegal immigration. I'm not saying like migrants who are coming to the country legally and doing everything right. In fact, I'm talking right now with somebody. He is a refugee who's having an issue with his green card, and it's some snafu. I'm trying to help him through this, get him an immigration attorney. He was, I don't know why he was referred to me, but I'm helping. This is the story. He volunteers as an EMT and a volunteer firefighter. He's a hard worker. He's got a family. His wife, I believe, is an American citizen or a permanent legal resident, one of the two. But this is somebody who desperately wants to be American. And the overwhelming majority of people are coming from India and coming from China and coming from places all over this country, all over the world to this country. They want to be American. It's because they understand what it is. You want to talk to somebody who loves America and loves freedom and loves everything we stand for more than anyone else. Talk to a Cuban. Talk to someone who floated here on a 1952 Oldsmobile. They understand what it means to be American. All right. I promised it is a significant anniversary here on St. Patrick's Day, Anno Domini 2026. 20 years ago today, what could be, I think, called the very first viral video hit YouTube. The Leprechaun in Mobile, Alabama. In 2006, a news report in Mobile highlighted a group of people in the inner city who thought they saw a leprechaun. Now, this was years before other funny news clips were put online. Do you remember Antoine Dodson? He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching yo people up. You better hide your kids, hide your wife. Remember that one? That was about 10, 15 years ago. It was well before that, where people were acting along and just having fun with news reports. This was the very first one, and it was uploaded 20 years ago today. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the funniest St. Patrick videos you will ever see, the Leprechaun in Mobile, Alabama.
Well, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, crowds are coming by the dozens to get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community. Many of you bring binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah!
Eyewitnesses say the leprechaun only comes out at night. If you shine a light in its direction, it suddenly disappears. This amateur sketch resembles what many of you say the leprechaun looks like. Others find it hard to believe and have come up with their own theories and explanations for the image.
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff and told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
We're going to get down to the bottom of this. Yeah, it's still on there, guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
This guy helping to direct traffic says he's prepared for his encounter with the leprechaun. He's suited up from head to toe.
This wars off smells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
Others just came to get lucky in hopes a pot of gold may be buried under this tree.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know where to go. I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
This is Brian Johnson, NBC 15 News.
People will do anything for a pot of gold. I mean, anything.
You know what I like? I like the amateur sketch of the leprechaun.
Yeah,
it looks like somebody got a really good look at it and got that good drawing out there.
Who did that? I want to know who sketched that.
I don't know. Maybe Brian sketched it.
Doodling.
That was a good story.
The hamster sketch looks nothing like a leprechaun. It looks like an alien with a leprechaun hat on it. Look it up. I actually posted this on X and Facebook. If you want to see the video, it is one of the funniest things you will see. One of the very first viral videos before we even knew what a viral video was, well before X, well before Facebook and Instagram and social media. There was the leprechaun in Mobile, Alabama. A lot of fun for St. Patrick's Day. We'll be back right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show before you know it.
The Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Southbound on 43 slammed from Capitol down to the Marquette interchange. Southbound on 41. Oops. Jam solid southbound 43 from Capitol down to the Marquette.
Seriously?
4145 northbound is lousy from Watertown Plank all the way up to Hampton. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more, like up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more. Shop Pro Savings Days deals now at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Do you love the way your home looks? Hi, Colleen from Tri-County Contracting. When you pull into the driveway, do you think, yes, this is my style and how I want my home to look? If not, we can help. We want you to love your home again. We do everything on the exterior of your home: roofing, siding, windows, doors, and gutters. We will help you design your home to fit your style. If you'd like to take your time looking at roofing and siding, there's lots of helpful tools on our website or in our new Berlin showroom to help you create. If you want help designing or just someone to bounce ideas off of, we would love to have you meet with our design consultant, Jenny. She will meet with you and turn pictures of your home into design renderings. Imagine driving up to your home and loving it. Let's transform your home into the home you've always wanted. It all starts with a call or a visit to TriCountyContractingWI.com. Roofing, siding, and windows that will make you love your home again. Tri-County Contracting.
I'm medical doctor Jennifer Grieve. My experience in the ER led me to establish Reset Restore MD intravenous ketamine therapy centers in Brookfield and Mequon. The holidays can be hard for good people suffering from depression or anxiety. Our society often stigmatizes discussions and prevents people from seeking the help they desperately need. Reset Restore MD was founded on the principle that every Wisconsinite deserves the chance to live life without their dark clouds choking them when they wake up. Our treatments empower patients to reset and restore their relationships, including their most important relationship, the one with themselves. If you or someone you love is dreading getting together with family and friends due to depression or anxiety, intravenous ketamine therapy may be the solution. Patients undergo what they call life-changing treatments in our state-of-the-art clinics in Brookfield and Mequon. Sessions take about an hour and are done within 2 to 3 weeks. This season, don't forget to take a moment to prioritize someone's mental health, including your own. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here.
A tree planted in 1646 was instrumental to freedom you enjoy today.
For a decade, Sons of Liberty, including Paul Revere, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock, gathered under the Liberty Tree for meetings, speeches, and celebrations.
I'm Willow Voss. Makes me wonder what the historical significance trees Plant and Go plants might have hundreds of years from now.
If our oppressors didn't cut the Liberty Tree down, Cut and Go would meticulously manicure it for America's 250th anniversary. Cut and Go's remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated grapple saw operators will meticulously manicure your trees, removing damaged branches, limbs, even whole trees, getting your property ready to celebrate God's gift, America. Grind and Go removes eyesore trip hazard stumps, and Plant and Go will implement a maximum beauty and benefit new, potentially historic tree planting plan.
Happy 250th anniversary, a Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's CutandGoTrees.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where your kids take their first steps, where holidays happen, and where life unfolds. That's why the team you trust to protect it matters. As our customers' needs grow and change, so have ours. Wisco Roofing and Windows has now expanded into Northern Illinois and will be going by Wilco Exteriors. Same owners, same crew, same warranty, and same promise to take care of your home like it's our own. To kick off a new chapter, Wilco is offering 0% financing for 12 months and 20% off your next project. So don't wait to start those pesky summer projects later. Start now. Visit WilcoEXT.com. That's WilcoEXT.com to book your free window, roofing, or siding estimate today. And the first 20 homeowners to book an appointment will also receive a free $50 Visa gift card. So again, visit WilcoEXT.com. That's WilcoEXT.com. Wilco Exteriors, built with integrity.
Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
For those of you listening on WISN, you are in for a treat. Poor Kevin Henry. Just couldn't get that recorded traffic segment right. You know who is at the bar early on the Dan O'Donnell Show staff. It was our traffic guy, Kevin. He starts the traffic, messes up, and goes, oops. It makes a raspberry noise before starting over. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't be jumping in on the traffic report. However, that was just too funny. Too funny. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show on this St. Patrick's Day. No passage yet of the NIL bill in the Wisconsin Senate. The Senate is working in a marathon session, and I was looking at the calendar. The NIL bill, which was one of the other controversial ones that Republicans really didn't support in huge numbers, but is going to pass. They are going to vote on it, and it is going to pass with Democrats' support. That will likely pass later on this evening. Now, another not controversial bill, if you're a sane human being, that passed. Sheriffs are going to have to verify the legal status of every person in their jails who is detained for a felony. And they would have to comply with detainers and administrative warrants received from the Department of Homeland Security. This passed on a voice vote, actually. Unless Senate Democrats register their opposition after the fact, Governor Evers is kind of in a tough spot. Because Assembly Democrats voted against the bill. He's threatened to veto it, but he also has said, hey, finding people who committed crimes and sending them back home, who could be against that? But it would also require cooperating with the evil ICE. So Senate Democrats, they're terrified of voting against this. So the bill actually passes on a voice vote. Assembly Democrats, they did oppose this vote. Now, Democrats did, before they passed the vote today, offer a substitute amendment that would have watered it down by changing language from charged with a felony to essentially anyone convicted of a violent crime. But not only does that change the timeline, it would have exempted a whole number of serious felonies that aren't necessarily violent OWI, child enticement, that sort of thing. So Democrats clearly oppose this thing. But does Governor Evers really want to veto it? My guess is that he does, even though this is just common sense legislation, and a Republican governor, I'm taking a wild guess, Governor Tom Tiffany, would sign this into law immediately. This is why it is so important to hold on to the Senate. And folks, I am telling you, it is not going to be the nearly impossible feat that people think it is going to be to hold on to the Wisconsin Senate. The Wisconsin Assembly might end up being, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Republicans have a 3-seat majority. That means if Democrats win 3 seats out of the 4 that are likely to be in play, we just had 2 retirements, Rob Hutton and now Van Wanggaard, in 2 of those districts. It's going to be a tough battle to keep the Senate. The Assembly might actually be much better at remaining in Republicans' hands. Hey, speaking of the Senate and Senator Van Wanggaard's retirement, Senate Democrats on X posted, quote tweeting a report from J.R. Ross of WisPolitics.com that Wanggaard was retiring. They posted at the official @WI Senate Dems account, "Another one bites the dust." Van Wanggaard lost 3 siblings in the past year. A 4th sibling has dementia, and his daughter has stage 4 cancer, which he cited as the reason that he is retiring. These people are absolute soulless ghouls who will also retire to the fainting couches anytime any conservative says anything that they think can be weaponized against them. Forgive me if I doubt the sincerity of people who will post "another one bites the dust" from the guy dealing with unimaginable family tragedy and illness and is retiring for that reason. The same people who for 6 straight months now have been openly celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and for nearly 2 years now have been insisting that Donald Trump actually faked the assassination attempt against him. An assassination attempt, mind you, that killed a firefighter from Buffalo. These are just heartless, cold people. 33 years ago in Chicago, obviously the annual St. Patrick's Day parade was going on, and, well, there was a bit of a surprise on the WGN TV news. Robert Jordan, who was the correspondent in the crowd as WGN was airing the parade, reported on the fact that Tommy Lee Jones was shooting a new movie in said parade. And at that moment, Tommy Lee ran up behind him.
I just want to tell you an interesting story. They're shooting a movie down here, The Fugitive, and they're taking advantage of the parade because apparently one of the scenes in the movie is, and you're seeing Tommy Lee Jones right there. And Tommy Lee, hi, Bob Jordan.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay, I just wanted to tell the guys an interesting anecdote. I'm interviewing the superintendent of police, and you and your buddy run by here like you're looking for some bad guys.
We are, yeah.
And they said, who are these guys? And they saw you guys run by. I said, well, they are chasing bad guys, fictitious bad guys.
Fictitious cops chasing fictitious bad guys on a really good day.
Right. What's the movie you're shooting?
It's called The Fugitive, and it stars Harrison Ford. Warner Brothers will have it out in late this winter.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah,
okay. It's happy St. Patrick's Day. Bob. Okay. So as it turned out, it was really funny to watch the superintendent and John Townsend go, who are these guys chasing, as they saw them run down the street chasing their fictitious bad guys. Back to you.
Very, very cool little moment. And in fact, the filming was done almost guerrilla style, that the filmmakers for the big scene, and this is a pivotal scene in the film, which I actually watched this afternoon. I was looking for Fox News on my YouTube TV, and I happened upon AMC. For some reason, my favorites got wiped out or something. I think the TV got unplugged or reset or something. So I'm like cycling through the channels and I see The Fugitive is on AMC. I'm like, oh yes, perfect St. Patrick's Day movie. I turned it on right at the moment where Dr. Richard Kimball goes back to the hospital to try to search for records on the one-armed man who actually killed his wife, or at least he believes he killed his wife. And the St. Patrick's Day parade is going on outside, and Tommy Lee Jones is right on his tail, and he chases him, and Richard Kimball, Harrison Ford, loses him in the parade by actually going in and out of the parade. The filmmakers actually asked the mayor of Chicago, I believe it was Daley at the time, for permission to shoot at the actual parade with minimal cameras, and they just dubbed a lot of the sound later in sound stages because they didn't want to make a fake parade. They wanted to capture the chaotic excitement of St. Patrick's Day in Chicago. So they were filming on location, and when you see the two chasing each other, that is actually, people are told, like, hey, we're going to be shooting a scene for a movie, just act natural, watch the parade. But it was done, that entire scene was done in only a couple of takes, because obviously as people are marching by in the parade, Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones are weaving in and out of them, and they only had a couple of times that they were able to get it right. So it was done very, very quickly. It's just a little interesting tidbit. That scene, that entire chase scene, was not originally supposed to be in the movie. The director of the film, whose name is on the tip of my tongue right now, Andrew Davis. Andrew Davis, the director, said he was actually from Chicago, and he said, look, the best day in Chicago is St. Patrick's Day. You've got the Green River. If you've got a good weather day, it is just so much fun. Since they happened to be shooting in Chicago in March, they said, how about we do a scene? And he went to the top brass in Chicago and said, hey, can we film during the parade? It's basically going to be Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford chasing each other in and out of the parade. The city said yes. And apparently the police commissioner was not told. He's like, hey, as Robert Jordan from WGN said, hey, who are these guys chasing? And Jordan had to tell them, yeah, I guess it's for a movie. That's actually Harrison Ford. He's one of the most famous actors in the entire world. So a fun little bit of trivia for one of the best St. Patrick's Day set movies of all time. If you haven't seen The Fugitive, check it out. It is one of the great suspense crime thriller movies of all time.
Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
43 southbound, 45 minutes from Brown Deer down to the Marquette. Your jam from Hampton all the way in. 41-45 northbound taking you 20 between the Zoo and Good Hope. Your delays are between Watertown, Plank, and after Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion. Wendy's new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion is here. With a mint chocolate sauce, this treat was designed to be loved. Be sure to get the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion soon, because just like Girl Scout cookie season, it won't be here forever. Plus, don't forget to order your fave cookies on girlscoutcookies.org. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's and Girl Scouts of the USA.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm, Screen and Door.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass. I've been saying for years that Mander is your best decision after a collision, and here's why. My son was in a very minor fender bender during a snowstorm, and both he and the other driver, who happened to be a loyal listener, took their vehicles to Mander. The parts were ordered quickly, and they arrived faster than we thought possible. The customer service and workmanship were exceptional. That's what sets Mander apart. You're not just a number or just another job to them. You're a person who needs their car back quickly and looking as good as new, and Mander understands this and delivers every time. That's why they back up all of their work with a lifetime warranty, and that's also why I just can't recommend them highly enough. With locations across the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's one near you. So start your repair online at mandercollision.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. If it seems rain hangs around your home coming down as insidiously delicate droplets or in buckets, and if neither, rain tends to lurk suspiciously in the atmosphere around your house, you probably have a wet, mildewy, leaky basement with cracked walls. No basement wall or foundation repair is too big or small for Ryan Waterproofing. We won't be the most expensive. The larger the job, the more you'll save with Ryan. We've eliminated bowed walls, cracks, spalling, seepage, and flooding in Coast Guard stations, museums, and countless Wisconsin homes. Ryan's waterproofing experts show up on time and do exactly what we say we're going to do, eliminating your water problems, restoring your home, even ending your negative obsession with rain. Imagine looking out the window for rainbows rather than obsessing about your basement walls and floors next time, every time it rains. Free estimates, affordable financing. Because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing, call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Where are the bargains so big you might not believe them?
BidOnMilwaukee.com.
A metal roof, vacation packages, a robot mower, and more.
BidOnMilwaukee.com.
It's a mega market of merchandise. The Bid on Milwaukee online auction starts Wednesday, March 18th.
Amy Simonson is the IT administrator with Professional Services Group. They had business technology from a not-so-supportive vendor. Not anymore. They switched to James Imaging Systems.
They come in as a partner. They want to help you. They want to make your business successful.
Including your James Imaging Systems sales representative.
He's always there when I need him. It's always like, what can I do to help you?
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner with great people and more value.
The value is we have the right equipment in the right place. We're getting reliable, consistent service when we need it.
Amy, your advice for other Wisconsin businesses?
I would definitely say contact James Imaging. They are very helpful and knowledgeable and will put you in the right place.
James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, digital transformation. Call 262-781-7700, 262-781-7700, or visit jamesimaging.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here, and I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to spend a spring or summer evening outside. The backyard or outdoor living space becomes a true extension of our home. The landscape is great, but if you can't see it or have to go in when it gets dark, kind of defeats the purpose now, doesn't it? That's where the superheroes from Current Electric come in. They are the outdoor lighting experts in our area. Go see the Current Electric team at this year's Home and Garden Show, or go to callcurrent.com and start enjoying your outdoor living space.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. I'm sharing with you my podcast, Math and Magic, Stories from the Frontiers of Marketing. Math and Magic takes you behind the scenes of the biggest businesses while sharing insights from the smartest minds in marketing. I'm talking to Liquid Death CEO Mike Cesario.
Investors don't like to invest in ideas. They like to invest in businesses.
Charlemagne the God, and our own Chief Business Officer, Lisa Coffey. Listen to Math and Magic on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Math and Magic to start listening.
I think of a place on a faraway coast where friends are so dear and there's reason to toast. A cloudy image of a Middle East land comes down and wrecks my hopeful thoughts. Sail away to a place that's unknown, taken away from my friends and my home, to a place they call sacred, a place I call hell. I long for that corner I once knew so well.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show as we wrap up the St. Patrick's Day edition with some breaking news. A very, and I mean very, narrow passage of the NIL bill just a minute ago in the Wisconsin Senate, 17-16. The bill goes to Governor Evers' desk. It formally codifies rules for NIL payments to student athletes, not controversial at all. But 7 Republicans voted no, as did a number of Democrats, 9 of them, in fact, because it offers direct payments to UW-Madison. It gives taxpayer money to essentially cover the cost of NIL deals, name, image, and likeness for hotshot pro athletes or college athletes. It essentially pays them like pros, and Republicans and Democrats alike thought that this was just not good policy, that hardworking taxpayers should not be forced to subsidize hotshot school student athletes coming to UW-Madison. Look, we're all fans of the Badgers, right? We all want them to win their 5-12 NCAA tournament matchup against High Point. But look, this is just not it. All right, one more reminder, bidonmilwaukeeauction.com is the website that you go to starting 6 a.m. tomorrow to place your bids. Bidonmilwaukeeauction.com. Bidonmilwaukee.com is out of commission. Bidonmilwaukeeauction.com is the website. As we close out, it is a tradition here on the Dan O'Donnell Show to play my father, Kevin's, favorite St. Patrick's Day song. It is a love song to whiskey. It is about the perils of alcoholism, and it's a fun little ditty by the Irish Rovers. Have a great St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe, Wisconsin. Here are the Irish Rovers with Nancy Whiskey.
Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy Whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh sing. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy Whiskey. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh. I am a weaver, a Calton weaver. I am a rash, I'm a roving blade. I have silver in my pouches. I'll gang and follow the roving trade. Singing, whiskey, whiskey, Nancy. Everybody, whiskey, whiskey, Nancy, oh sing. Whiskey, whiskey, Nancy. Everybody, whiskey, whiskey, Nancy.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The man found guilty of kidnapping a woman at gunpoint in 2022, Timothy Olson, will spend 33 years in prison.
A jury in Milwaukee County convicted Timothy Olson of kidnapping and burglary. He has been disruptive throughout the run of this trial while representing himself, often getting kicked out of the courtroom. There was an attorney seated next to him the entire time. He still has other pending cases in Racine County as well.
Today, the state Senate approved a bill that would allow Wisconsin's Department of Health Services to seek a federal waiver prohibiting food share recipients from purchasing candy or soda with their benefits. Beloit Democrat Mark Spreitzer.
You know what? Kids from families that qualify for food share might deserve a little candy and soda now and then too. And ultimately, I think we all want to support health. We all understand that most of our diet shouldn't be candy and soda. We all want to support healthy foods. But micromanaging the grocery purchases of low-income folks is not the way to accomplish that.
And airports continue to see delays and staffing issues due to a partial government shutdown. Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth.
As this shutdown drags on, we're seeing more and more TSA workers call out, which is causing problems at some of our nation's busiest airports. Officers missed their first full paycheck on Friday, and as a result, the call-out rate for TSA officers was 10.19% on Sunday. That's compared to the normal 2% before the shutdown. And so far, 366 DHS officers have quit.
Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, the USA and Venezuela will face off in the 2026 World Baseball Classic finale in Miami tonight. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels. On Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
The Milwaukee Admirals take a two-game winning streak into a school day game on Wednesday when they travel to Winnipeg to take on the Manitoba Moose. Edstrom chases it down to the left point for Osterley. Back to the middle of the line. A shot. Score! Begin coverage at 10 a.m. Face-off at 10:30 on Fox Sports 920 and the iHeartRadio app.
Hi, I'm Fred Schwertfeger, chairman of Horicon Bank.
And I'm his son, Frederick Crawford Schwertfeger, president of Horicon Bank.
This year we're celebrating something special, 130 years of community banking. Since 1896, Horicon Bank has stood beside our neighbors, supporting families, local businesses, and our communities. So it's a milestone anniversary built on meaningful relationships and the core virtues we live by every day.
Reaching 130 years is more than a milestone. It's a testament to the trust our customers have placed in us for generations. We're truly proud of our past, but we're also encouraged about the future with our commitment to innovation and local partnerships.
We are honoring our 130th legacy with a year of celebrations at our branches, from Appleton to Wauwatosa, and our 18 locations in between. We are emphasizing what matters most, doing good together.
To learn more, visit horiconbank.com.
Horicon Bank, together doing good for 130 years. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Angie. Did you know a billboard can save a baby's life? It's true. You can make a difference by helping us spread the pro-life message to reach those who are struggling with an unplanned pregnancy. Please make a gift today. Visit prolifeacrossamerica.org.
You ever have a slow shower drain where the water rises until you're standing in a murky, bubbly, hairy...
I got it, and thank you for painting that vivid picture of the ankle soup.
Yeah, up to your ankles, and you're tempted to pour all that goop that smells like industrial citrus down the drain.
Which could wreck your pipes. Why not call Capital instead? For only $49, Capital will send out a pro and get your drain flowing.
Stop living with a clog and start living with the flow. Call Capital today.
Call CapitalCares.com.
The winter is coming to an end, but your sky-high electric bills likely aren't. Hey, it's Ben, and I want to talk to you about your windows. Yes, your windows. They play a huge role in what it costs to keep your house warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And now's the time to get new windows with Universal Windows Direct. Call right now. You can get in on the buy two, get two deal. When you buy 2 new windows, you get 2 new windows free, no limit. Plus, 24 months interest-free and a $500 bonus. Call them now, 414-410-2000, or online at universalwindowsdirect.com.
Happy anniversary, Saz!